questions and some horror news.
Okay.
Oh, but for real, I'm not mad at him, but I did block dark horror. Hi. Hi, everyone. Are we live?
Yeah, I
Oh,
said, are
nice.
you ready to go live? And I click live.
I know. I'm always so late. Okay, so I have Eek with me. I might bring him out. He was the special guest I was talking about. That's why I said monster support. Because today is like I'm having a good day. Everything's fine with me. It's just
Hi. Nice to meet you.
technically the 32nd,
Lol.
but pretty much the 33rd anniversary of Jim Henson's death today.
I
And
should have
watched the whole.
known.
I watched the whole memorial service. I was bawling. I was crying so hard. I was so sad. Eek, just calm down.
Going on
God, his head always wants to pop forward. So.
All right, I got it all situated.
Yeah, you should have known. Optimistic. Oh, I also want to thank since we got for anybody that's here that was there for our MST3K night.
Yeah,
it was awesome. We had a lot of fun. And
I'm sorry I couldn't make it.
That's fine. We'll have next month. Next month, man.
It was Mother's Day.
And it was, yeah, totally.
And Nordica's birthday.
Yeah, totally understand. No, everything's good. You're gonna make it sometime, and we're gonna happy to have you. We had somebody there that was their first time watching a Mystery Science Theater episode, so it was so fun. And for those that were there, I'm still trying to figure out what a modern man-made werewolf is.
Huh?
Right, it doesn't make any more sense in the movie. They just dig up a skeleton that has like a wolf head and a human body, and they're like, "We have a modern man-made werewolf." I'm like, "What does that mean?" Especially in this context, it's fantastic.
I don't. Yeah, that's hilarious. The maddest respects to Jim Henson. Love that guy. Yeah,
he was the real deal.
I listen to the Labyrinth soundtrack like all the time.
Me too. That's one of my favorites.
Me too.
I mean, that's Jim Henson's one of the big messages besides the, that gateway from childhood into being a young adult and all that, her journey in that sense is also being wary of older men that might want your attention. And I didn't get that message, obviously, and I was so in love with Sheriff.
Everybody was just in love with him instead. The opposite comes across, like, well, Jay, he's got magic. What are you doing?
I know, right? I mean, he's manipulative, but you're smarter than him, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
He's match made in
Bowie.
Magic.
So we have some horror news along with questions that were sent in. Some of them are old and some of them are new. And from Private Penzance, Pessimisty. We definitely have Pessimisty and Optimisty in the chat just to balance our zen there. And I told folks who were live on Twitch and YouTube. Are we live on YouTube as well?
Yep.
Oh, cool. And I'm gonna get two questions like bang quick out of the way that aren't really like something, unless you want to, Justine, that aren't really like something we kind of explored a lot last week. So someone says, so you really don't like McConaughey? And I honestly have no opinion. He seems like a cool dude. With his whole self-help thing, I don't know if he's really thinks he can help people. I don't know if he's doing it for money. It doesn't matter. Either way, I don't care. Maybe he'll help people, and I think that's great. I was just trying to have a silly, goofy time. There was like nothing serious about what I said, and someone asked me if I was an Amber Heard fan, and it's not about not being a Johnny Depp or Amber Heard fan. It's a convoluted conversation that we had a little bit last week. So I'm not an Amber Heard fan, but I don't like to say that because I feel like it's distancing myself from trying to have a feminist perspective
conversation
on it. Yeah. But like you said, it's like people want to pick a side.
They do. And I don't really like either of them. I think the whole situation seems ugly, and how it was handled seemed. I don't know them, so I can't personally say whether I like them or not in real life. There are some things that happen that give me the ick that I can walk away with, but uh, it's not there isn't like that's a false equivalency to act like, not liking both of them is also the same as not liking the case, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not you can have both. You can also not like both of those people or like one or the other and still not like how that was
Everything was handled.
handled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're not one with out the other kind of a thing. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. But yeah, I don't want to dwell on that conversation anymore.
Yeah, so that's just that's it. That was the only thing they asked was if
Yeah.
Amber Heard fan, and that's all I have to say. And
Mm-mm.
so everything else is just gonna be fun tonight. Nothing serious. And anything we say about movies or celebrities, we're just having a silly, goofy time, guys. And sometimes we'll make a
I don't
poignant
know them.
point.
Yeah.
We know we don't know them. We
Yeah.
might, except for Vincent Price.
And
Vincent Price
Jamie
is my
Lee
man.
Curtis. I really don't like her.
And Jim Henson, and I was
I
thinking there
really
was
don't know Jamie Lee Curtis either.
okay, but but there was a question that kind of leads into this, and we do have
Mhm.
movie stuff related stuff as well. Is that what is a celebrity that you would legitimately be sad if they died? And there's only one for me. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Mm.
obviously their passing is like something that's it's always sad to hear an artist that you like passes.
Yeah.
But there's one in particular that I think would hit me that left that I can think of that would really kind of hit me, like the way David Bowie and Jim Henson did, is LeVar Burton, because I watched Reading Rainbow and Star Trek Next
Mm.
Generation, LaForge. I grew up with LeVar Burton, and in our
Mhm.
library, in my elementary school, those like celebrity posters that they would have up that says
Mhm.
read and then a celebrity. We had the LeVar
Mhm.
Burton. What I was. We also have Barbara Walters. We had the LeVar Burton one, and I used to sit and read by LeVar Burton. So LeVar Burton
Mhm.
definitely is my celebrity. I'd be a little more than bummed if he passed away. But she's in good health. He must be protected.
Yeah. I don't know if I have one. I mean, I would be really sad if we lost Mike Flanagan unexpectedly because I think that guy is like got a lot of stuff ahead of him for us that I'm excited about, and I'm sure we'll touch on that with some movie news a little bit. But uh, I think I would be really devastated if we lost Mike Flanagan because I think he's
Yeah.
he's a good artist of our time right now for the horror genre. But I don't really know any celebrities that I wouldn't be like, oh, that sucks, and then not be that impacted by because I don't know them. Like it's
I
it's
mean,
it's different. It's weird to me to, like, get too attached to people I don't know, I guess, um,
well, it
but I
always
would be
surprises me.
disappointed, I guess. Yeah,
Like
it
most of
does.
the time, it's like, oh, that's a bummer. Like it was a bummer when can't even think of it. But there's it most like Alan Rickman, he was hot. But it's different than
Yeah,
LeVar
that's a
Burton
bummer.
because yeah, because it's a bummer.
Yeah,
Not because he was hot, he was talented, and he
very
did go too
talented.
soon. He was only 61 or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like when it's surprising, it can be disappointing, but, like I said, I don't get, like, sad and, like, heartbroken over it, but, uh, they live on in their art, and I find that very comforting, so
that is comforting. That is comforting. Although I mean, I would have liked to have gotten Bowie albums for my whole life, but I knew that was probably not going to happen. But
Optimist
that's okay.
Steve. He said the 3 biggest celebrity passings that hit him were Jim Henson, John Candy, and Charles Schultz.
Those are big ones.
It
You know what?
was a blow for me when Christopher Lee died, said Spooky Robin.
Aw, Christopher Lee was hot and talented and so smart. He knew so many languages. But with Jim Henson, when I was a kid, I remember when he died, and I didn't know who he was. Is the thing because
Mhm,
I watched Sesame Street, I watched the Muppets. Well, the thing is, the Muppets. I can't remember. I think the Muppets came back on TV where I could watch it after he
mhm,
died, but I knew Sesame Street and such. And there was and I heard adults talking about it, but also they had the TV special where
mhm.
Kermit's nephew, the little frog, is saying, "Oh, he died. I remember him. He used to be right down there, and he was always having fun." And they all the like
That
character.
is so sweet.
Oh my god, it's so sad. I didn't
Yeah.
even know who he was, but like it like affected me. And
Well
I watched the memorial service in London twice today. And like I every time Carol Spinney, who's also left us, who was Big Bird, is singing It's Not Easy Being Green, and he breaks,
Mhm.
like his voice breaks, and you can tell he's crying multiple
Mm.
times. It's so
It's
Rocket
funny.
Fire.
I mentioned like I didn't get affected by too many passings, but actually I do get infected or impacted by Anton Yelkin's passing. Every time I watch a
Oh,
movie with him in it, I'm like way too young. He was way too young, so talented. I can't think of one thing that he's been in that I did not just love that movie. And I think primarily or partially because of Anton Yelkin and his skill. And that is so sad to me, and that one crushes me every time I think about it too much.
he was
But,
so young. How old was he? He
so
was 20
young,
something,
20 something,
right?
yeah, and in a freak accident, you know? And then they mentioned Stan Lee. I think Stan Lee also kind of impacted me because I feel like I'm so glad he was alive for the MCU to do what it's done and to get all those cameos. I'm glad he got to see that, like, that's gotta be, like, the ultimate, like, I don't know.
And he was in a lot of the cameos and everything. That was
Yeah, that he
cute.
was a part of, like, his baby basically becoming as big as the MCU did. But yeah, he was 27, they said. Yeah, it's
Mm.
just yeah, cosmically wrong. Yeah, that one hurts.
I
Every
start
time I watch
tearing up in our episode where, which is not, we got our animal attacks episode coming out next, and I'm almost going to send you, Justine, our serial killer episode, which will come out after that. And then after
yeah.
that is our pick three. And Thomas is one of those movies. And Crystal, who always gets to the heart of things really well. And she mentioned, she's like, this movie was so hard to watch because in the beginning he says, I'm sorry you died so young to a character. And, then he died so young after. I'm like, Crystal!
Yeah, that, like, hit me. And that's when I realized, like, how much that one in particular affected me because, again, I like the new Star Trek movies partly because of Anton Yelkin's character, amongst the other great characters that are in those new films. But every movie he's in, Charlie Bartlett, I mean,
I haven't seen that one.
he was a talent. I loved him. So that one was tough, but yeah. Yeah, I think that one Heath Ledger too. Yeah, you know what? Heath Ledger also. I feel like I grew up with Heath Ledger
Really?
also. Yeah,
I
oh
mean, I
yeah.
loved him
So
in 10 Things I Hate About You, but I was a teenager, I think, when I saw
yeah,
it.
I
I'm
was
not
a
sure.
teenager too, and that was one of
I
those
love that
movies
one.
that came out of my home state. So like it was a real big deal for me, like growing up watching 10 Things I Hate About You and seeing Seattle and Tacoma in the film. And I feel like everything he was in after that, you're always rooting for certain actors, and Heath Ledger was one of those actors I felt like I was always rooting for.
Mhm.
And he was
I
just
love you,
stand up.
baby.
That song has been stuck in my head for the past 2 days, actually,
I love that.
because of
Brittany
TikTok.
Murphy is another one someone mentioned. Oh my, Brittany
Yeah, that one's
Murphy.
sad too.
Like, anytime they're casting Harley Quinn, like she was for a long time there was a lot of rumors that she was going to play Harley Quinn before anybody ever did. And I love Margot Robbie, and I'm interested to see
Mhm.
Lady Gaga. It's nothing against anybody that's playing the character. I just really would have wanted to see Brittany Murphy play Harley. I think she would have rocked that.
I would have liked Brittany Murphy in anything. She was
I
very
loved her.
talented. She was endearing when she needed to be endearing, freaky and creepy when she needed to be creepy. She nailed her roles really well. What's the one with Drew Barrymore? Oh man, if we lost Drew Barrymore, that one would really hurt me. Drew Barrymore is one of my favorite people in the world. I watch her talk show now because
She's so
she's
sweet.
she's so freaking sweet. Like she
And
needs
she's
to be
engaging.
protected at all
I
costs.
remember when she was like walking around like Megan. Like she's just awesome. She commits to the bit. She
Yeah,
puts her whole,
she's
her
so
whole
great.
stuff in it.
I love her. Yeah, I that one would probably hurt me because that's another actor that I feel like I grew up with too, and really close to. Yeah, I get that all the time too, and I think that makes it even harder, like, because she's like, "You remind me so much of her, Justine." I get compared to Drew Barrymore more than any other famous person out there. It's always Drew Barrymore and sometimes Emma Stone and the chick from Dynasty and
And Margaret
Victoria
too, right?
and Margaret, but that one's only with old people.
Older folks.
Older people. Um, But yeah, Drew Barrymore is the one that everybody always says that I remind them of. I think it's because we both have the chin and we both have a lisp.
The lisp. It's so cute.
Lisp.
It's
So.
so cute. Mm. And then there's it's not really well, it's a question, and it's
Mhm.
so embarrassing how long it took me to process this question, because which was only a few more seconds than it should. Someone asked, "What do you think of Robert De Niro having a baby?" And I'm like, "What? What? Okay. So he has another child now, a baby, baby." And I
Like
just
he
say,
just sired a child. That's what we're talking about.
sired, I love that, sired child.
Sired a child.
I have no opinion. Congratulations. I hope
I
everyone's
don't care.
cool and good, and that's it. I don't.
Is she like super young or something? Is that
I
why?
have no
Don't-
clue. I
I
have
don't know.
no idea.
It's 7th. Well,
He's
I mean, have you guys met Nick Cannon yet? I mean, dude's going to like his
well,
14th
Cindy
kid or
Prescott said
something.
he's 79. Yeah, he's 79. But you know what? They've got money. They can. That baby's gonna be fine.
Gonna be fine.
It's gonna be
He,
fine. I mean,
he's
Robert De
born
Niro seems
into
like a
some acting
cool enough guy.
royalty at this point, I think. Yeah, he seems cool.
I like
I don't know.
Robert.
I really
I
liked
like
The
Bobby.
Irishman, so I
I
love a
realized
lot
I
of
have
movies
seen
with
that
him.
one. That's the one with Al Pacino playing Jimmy Buffett, right? Not Jimmy Buffett. What's his name? No, wait. I have seen it. I have seen it. I just forgot it pretty
It's
quickly
like
after
the
I saw it.
newest mafioso style film that
But
Robert De
it's
Niro had done.
Bobby is on the out because he's the Irishman and it's the Italian mob, and that's what I remember.
Yeah. And he's like a hired man, a hired hand. Uh, he's great. I love that film so much. I was watching it. I remember thinking, man, De Niro still got it.
He does still
Like,
got it. He does.
uh,
My
he
favorite
also
role of
seems like a
his.
guy that would be so sweet if you met him.
He
Like
does.
everybody's grandpa. Like,
Grandpa.
yeah. And dad, I guess.
I guess, yeah, he's busy. I think his
So he
oldest is
still
like
got
50
it.
something.
Literally.
Literally. He's still moving and grooving. One way or the other. And this is a movie news thing. We do have questions and we'll get to them. We'll get to some of them because we're gonna stay on for a little bit. And so
Sweet.
this one I
Yeah.
think is good news for both of us. It kind of cut off the title. I printed it out because it's easier when I have something
Oh yeah.
tangible.
Uh-huh.
It's this new film coming out, The Slave and the Sorcerer, gore-filled 80s throwback, plays tribute to Beastmaster and Misty's will understand Deathstalker. So it's this fantasy film, and I
Ooh.
have and it's actually as a Kickstarter all open
A
now.
gory fantasy film, huh?
A gory fantasy film. So
Fanny.
that's like the poster, but
The gory
we've got
Fanny.
this is like our lead, right? I mean, he's fine. I like Janet Weiss. I don't like men
Who
with
is that?
too many
Who
muscles.
is it?
I do have it written down. One moment, and then this one's a little bit more salacious for me. Like ooh la la.
Who's that?
So the team over at Hex Studios is on a mission to build a British horror and fantasy studio inspired by companies like Canon, Hammer, and AIP. AIP being Roger Corman's. And this week they're unleashed the official poster and art for one of their projects. It's titled The Slave and the Sorcerer, said to be a practical effects, awesome, laden sword and sorcery adventure, ripped straight out of the 80s, inspired by cult classics such as Deathstalker, the Beastmaster, which is the guy that did Phantasm, Don. I always forget his last name. Doesn't matter. And the Sword of the Sorcerer. The action-packed horror fantasy is brimmed with muscle-bound heroes, seductive sorceresses, and iconic villains true to the era. Also in the
I
spirit
love Ashley Judd.
of their inspirations, I love her too. The team at Hex built an extensive dungeon and set at the studio in Scotland, and an array of horrifically gory practical effects to please even the most bloodthirsty horror fan. In the film,
I'm excited. I love
yeah,
fantasy horror. Army of Darkness is one of my favorites because of that. We all know this now about me. Sold. Yeah, same. That's Misty. Sold.
Can you see me? Because my screen just went blank.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, because I can't see anybody. Wait, what's going on? Okay, there we go. All right. I don't know what happened.
Surprise!
It's all good. It's all good. Surprise! I'm here. All right, so
Yeah.
then it gives a brief synopsis, but I think we get the point. So the film stars Scottish up-and-comer Chris Black as Tyrol, along with Jonathan Hensler, Brittany, as in it doesn't have an O, it's like Briony, Briony Monroe, Megan Trethik, and Richard Pate. So there's some like
No,
not
none
big
of these.
names, but it looks like a lot of fun. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. It looks cool. That's why I wanted to mention it.
Well, now I gotta pull it up. The Slave and the
Sorcerer.
I don't know about that
And
title.
I know, I like it, and it looks, and I love like really passionate projects like that. So, and
I want to see if I
also this is
recognize
some
any of these people.
shorter news. Is
I don't think I know any of these people.
which I don't have. It's not a good printout, but they just released like hours ago the Five Nights at Freddy's poster.
Yeah.
And that I'm excited. I just played the first game, myself on my phone.
Mhm.
And it's going to be released on October 27th, and that's exciting. And this part isn't new news, but it's Jim Henson's Creature Shop that is taking care of the animatronics. So they're making like Freddy Fazbear and the Coyote, all
Mhm.
of them, and that's super cool. So I like not only because I'm a fan of Jim Henson's Creature Shop, but like if they made the animatronics super CGI, that would be
Mhm.
so lame. So good on Jim Henson's Creature Shop and Blumhouse.
Yeah, that's a sweet poster.
I dig it. I like the cupcake.
I like
The
it.
evil looking cupcake.
Oh, let me put it back up. Sorry. I like put it up, and the minute you started talking about it, I got rid of it.
Oh, the cupcake there. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Evil.
It's so cute. I've never played this game, but I've seen a lot of gameplay of this game.
Has Nordica played it?
Mm-mm.
I know,
But she's
I
also really into watching people play games. Like she's been watching
Markiplier and PewDiePie or something. Or other
No,
people.
I don't know their names. I've never heard of them before. I guess they're popular with kids because they act very
My kids.
goofy. Yeah, but they're definitely older. Like I don't know.
Does one guy have glasses and dark hair, like light brown hair, and he's like our age?
No.
No.
No, they're
What's
younger.
Markiplier?
I think they're in their like 20s. Oh, I know Markiplier. I know those two that you mentioned. It's not them.
So
But
that's the extent of my knowledge of people that
yeah.
play video games.
But she likes to watch them and watch them with this one, oh, what is it? Something spider. I don't know. I'm an old lady, I guess. What is
You're not an old lady, but I mean, compared to like a 12-year-old, you know, in the comparison.
It's something about like mama something. I don't know. And she's creepy looking.
But I love I always love when it's like a childhood thing but made like creepy and dark, and the fact that there's like these children's souls trapped in these animatronics. I'm excited. I mean, it's gonna be silly, goofy fun. I mean, there was that Nick Cage, Nick Cage, not
Willy's
Nick Cage, different.
Wonderland.
Yeah, which felt like, you know, the knockoff version of
Yeah,
they couldn't do Five Nights at Freddy's, so that's what they did,
they
which
did
was
something
actually a
fun.
pretty
Yeah.
fun movie. It wasn't great,
Yeah.
but it was fun. I liked it enough.
You know, I really liked Renfield. I know like a lot of people are kind of on the fence about that movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a blast.
It looks fun.
Go into it like it's Odd Thomas. Like you're not expecting it to be like a great movie, but it's like fun to watch. It's
That's
a
what
good
I
time.
expected. It seems like there's like a lot
That's
of
what I
like
expected
fast-paced
too.
action going on. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be
it's
scary. Just fun.
silly. It is silly, gory fun. I loved it. I had a blast watching it. My daughter picked it out. I was taking her to the movies to see Mario Brothers, and she's like, "I want to watch that one." And she pointed at Renfield because
your family.
she loves Dracula.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, it's her favorite thing about Monster Squad, besides the little girl being like the saving hero, She really likes Dracula, and so she gets really excited about, Mom, look, it's Dracula. He's coming out. It's Dracula. Like, she's always making me watch that part when he shows up.
That's cute. I like that. I love that
Yeah.
actually. So here's a question I can answer very quickly, at least on
Mhm.
my end. And someone, let me see, where is it? Is it normal that you don't answer, or does it mean something? So the app that I use is Tell on YM, and they
Mhm.
do give me sender hint, but literally when I look at the sender hint, it'd be like, this person is in a different city than you. This person isn't using an iPhone. So it really doesn't tell me anything. Yeah, so like it doesn't tell me anything that would deduce who you are. So I really, so don't
No
think
clue.
that there's like, if you've asked us a question, and I do avoid some questions, not because of any really intense reason. Like sometimes the app asks me questions and I can't tell if
Mhm.
it's the app or somebody asking it. So there's a question here: do you prefer summer or winter? Which I wasn't going to ask. It might have been the app, it might have been a person, I don't know. And but it doesn't mean I think it's a stupid question or something. So don't take anything
It's not
personally.
really, like, relevant to us, but if you guys wanna know, I
If
prefer
you guys
summer.
really want to know, we can tell you. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
don't, like, I have no idea who sent what, and apparently I've gotten it wrong in the past because I get stuff wrong, believe it or not, right? But
What?
right,
I thought you
but
were,
and
like, a robot and knew everything, Emma.
I wish, but unfortunately, alas, no. But yeah. So if we don't ask a question, it's either because we've answered. It's never anything
Do you
personal
get
and means
many
nothing.
inappropriate questions? That was asked.
Do we get? Yes, a lot. Um,
Do we ask them still? Sometimes.
sometimes because it's like seems like it might be like fun, or it might be like they think I wasn't going to ask, but I asked anyway. Uh,
You're
yeah.
nasty.
I mean, it has to be. Yeah. I mean, we're adults. I mean, it's rare that I get something so like that I like can't. I just don't bother. But
Mhm.
usually, but it's so that doesn't usually happen that much. Nothing where it's like so, or it's just somebody. Most of the time, if it's really nasty,
If
it's not
you're
even a
offending
question. It's
Emma's
just a comment.
sensibilities, then you should probably not ask questions. Like,
I think I'm pretty easygoing some most of the time. I mean, I don't.
exactly.
I mean, you're free to say raunchy stuff to me. I'm probably gonna ignore it, but I'm not
Yeah.
upset about it. Um.
We
Anyway,
get worse in lives before. You guys have seen some of the stuff that comes up in our lives. Oh,
well, I
hurts.
mean, I think some folks like thought I've been upset about questions in the past, and like if I control this. Like if I ask a question
Look,
live,
pineapple belongs on pizza, Optimisty. That is my
it
favorite kind
totally
of
does.
pizza. And
I
anybody
love
who thinks
bacon
otherwise is just gatekeeping
and
pizza.
pineapple. I know.
And
I've been asked that
we should
question
try
so
to
many
have fun
times.
sometime.
I've been asked that question about the pineapple pizza so many times. I just can't. I almost quit social media
What I
because of
wanna know
it.
why it's so
I'm just kidding.
important to people if I like pineapple on my pizza. I didn't order the pizza for you. I
It's
ordered
such
it
a
for me.
private question. It's such a private question. How dare you?
It's also like, well, it's so weird because, like, you know how some people are like, "Oh, I bet you drink frou-frou drinks." Yeah, I like drinks that taste good. So? Like, and they judge people who drink, like, fancy, like, cocktails or something. Like, if a guy orders a Cosmo, it's somehow, like, attacking his masculinity or something. I've never understood that. Cosmos are good. If you like a Cosmo, order a Cosmo. I if you like
I
what
don't
you
like
like,
drinks that are
eat
too
it. It's
sweet.
your freaking tongue. It's your taste buds. Like,
No one's
who
thinking too
cares?
hard. I mean, I'm shocked because it happens sometimes when if people, but most of the time, no one's thinking too hard about what anybody's doing. I don't have deep
Yeah.
thoughts going on about anybody that I don't know. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Um.
I
So
did watch
this is.
Smile. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Smile?
Yeah, sure, if you want to. So,
Yeah.
I did watch Smile. I liked it. I don't think it was a bad movie. I think it had some kind of the topic that it was covering and the things that it was talking about, it's hard to do without, um, diminishing, I guess, reality to a degree. It's just difficult. It's a difficult topic. So as a movie, though, as like a scary movie, I thought it executed well. The creature design was freaking
Oh, that
awesome.
was my
I
favorite part.
loved
It
it.
was
Yeah,
sick.
it was
And
such
if
a
it
good
wasn't,
payoff when we got to that point.
what's her
Um,
name? Sosha or Sasa Bacon? It's Kevin Bacon and
mhm,
Kira's daughter, which I didn't know for the longest time. She was very good in the movie. I think that there are parts of it where it reminded me too much. And it's okay if a movie reminds me of another movie, but
mhm,
sometimes if it doesn't measure up enough or isn't different enough, it sticks with me. There
yeah,
were points where it reminded me a lot of It Follows, which is a movie I
yeah.
like, and not to a point where it made it a bad movie, but I felt like the monster wasn't enough of a threat, and the overall message because of the ending, without spoiling it, I do have deep thoughts
It
about
was a
this.
little
I think it is
dire.
true.
Yeah, like a
It
little like
that
can't be helped, can't be saved. I don't like that. Yeah.
because I don't think it was their I really would be shocked if it was their intentional message. I really don't think it was, but because they were dealing with the issue of mental health and trauma, the
Mhm.
way they ended it kind of gave the message of, and they weren't trying to give this message, but it inadvertently came to light that way, is that if you don't end yourself or pass it on to others, you're basically stuck with it. Basically you're doomed, you can't be saved, and you're just gonna hurt everybody around you. Is And it's, again, the
Yeah.
movie's just trying and Jules, who was on who was a guest on our podcast for women in horror, we talked about Smile a little bit there, and she put it well, where she just said, I think they were focused more on trying to make a scary movie, and then accidentally had this message that it didn't need to have.
I
And that was
agree. Yeah.
yeah. So
And that's
so
what I
it was
meant,
okay.
like, it's a
Yeah.
tough topic to have be such a focal point of of a horror film if you want if you want a good message to come out of it. Like, maybe not do a horror film about that type of trauma.
Or be a
But
little bit more cautious if you're like, okay, we're touching very sensitive subjects,
yeah.
so let's make sure we get it kind of right. I mean,
You know
so
what
it
else bothers me about Smile? They
what?
showed too many of the really good parts in the trailer because there
That's
were
true.
moments that I thought, like, the part where her sister or whatever's neck drops in the window, you see
Yes,
that in
the
the
jump
trailer, so
scares.
you know it's coming, and it's like, "Man, that would have been so good if I didn't know, like, it was
I mean,
gonna
I know they
happen."
have to get butts in
Like,
seats, but at the
yeah.
same time, I do think that a lot of the time it happens where they'll show too much. Where it's like, you don't have to
Mhm.
show me every jump scare, just show me like one kind of good one, but make sure
But
there's
if you're only
others
giving
that I
me
can watch.
such a little glimpse of the creature that's so awesome at the end, I want to be surprised with all throughout the film.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, too much of that film appears in the spoiled in the trailer. A lot of movies do that wrong, and some movies just nail it. Like some movies, I'm like really impressed with how much they don't show. Like Barbarian, that movie made a lot of money. A lot of people went and saw
Oh,
Barbarian and
so
had no clue what
good.
was going to happen in that movie. Why can't every movie be like that? Like,
Well, that's some movie I have news on that I didn't actually print out, which
oh
I
yeah,
put in the
yeah,
Discord. The director of that movie, and it took him a long time to get a studio to back him and for him to make that script. So
yeah.
it's awesome to hear that that script went well, and I liked Barbarian, but even for those that don't like Barbarian, I think they'd appreciate
It's
that
also
he's doing so well.
fresh. Like,
Yeah, it was fresh and it was also unique, and I could see why studios had a difficult time with it because it was so differently told, and it
mhm,
worked so well. And then there was a bidding war for his next movie, which is called which we don't know much about his next movie. And it's
mhm.
cool to hear there was a bidding war for his like independent director, and it's very cute.
Right,
What we do
right.
know, yes, is that he's directing, and that it's called Weapons, and that it's
Yeah.
going to be similar to the movie Magnolia, with the one with Tom
Ooh,
Cruise from a while ago, which is a really good
yeah.
movie. And Pedro Pascal is going to be in it.
Yeah, and Pedro Pascal's very hot right now. So again,
He's
I think he's gonna have a
everywhere.
very successful box office with this movie no matter what. I you know something that I don't know, this might sound asshole-ish, but I get really discouraged when people complain about like remakes and reboots and stuff and franchises, but then hate on films like Barbarian so much. Like You wanted something new and different. This is new and
know, I
different.
did.
It was successful. Even if you don't like it, like at least subscribe to the fact that they gave you something different and acknowledge the fact that different exists and it's not all remakes and reboots.
And
That
you don't have to
other
like
stuff is being
everything.
made
Like
out
you
there.
liked
You don't.
Barbarian, but didn't like Malignant. You know, like you don't have to like
Exactly.
everything. You know.
You don't, but acknowledge that they're doing something. I mean, James Wan's churning and burning films. Everybody gives him money. So I can hate on Malignant. That's okay. James
It
Wan's
is
gonna do just
okay.
fine.
It is. I loved it, but like on second viewing, I really got into it. First one, I
And I
watched
loved
was
Megan.
Oz.
And Megan wasn't anything new, was it?
No, but it was fun. It was what we needed. I feel like Megan was something we needed at this moment. And I
Mhm,
just you know, I love the 80s. Okay? I love 80s horror movies. It's a great decade for horror.
mhm,
And it's okay if you don't like horror movies beyond like what you're used to and the 80s horror flicks.
mhm.
That's fine, but you know, you can't I think that there's a dangerous line where you can get stuck there, where it's like, I don't like the reboots and remakes, which has been said forever, before the word reboot was even a thing. That's always been said.
Yeah.
Which
As
is
if it's
fine.
all that
People say
exists.
it.
Yeah, but it's not all that exists. There's so much new fresh horror out there all the
And then you
time.
don't like any of the new stuff. And I'm not talking about anybody
Support
specific,
it.
obviously. It's like you're like, hey, this wasn't for me. I like that they tried. But you know, if you want to be stuck in the 80s, that's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, don't drag other things. You could say you don't like them, but there's a difference between not liking something and trying to find some worth within new productions and just like hating something to hate it.
Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know. Support the horror directors that are making new stuff, you know. There's films like The Void that I think don't get the popularity that they deserve until later. Like it's very niche. Like I don't know a lot of people that know about the movie The Void who
It's
aren't
a great
like
movie.
avid horror film fans. Um, but I think that's a film that should get more recognition for what it accomplished and how good it was. And I think if it did as well as something like Barbarian did in theater today, like if they were to release something like The Void today, I think it would do a lot better than it would have then, like it did. I don't know. I feel like independent creators are getting a little bit more chances today, it seems like, than they used to. But maybe that's just me and my small little world that I'm paying attention to.
I mean, it goes in ebbs and flows like anything.
Yeah,
Fabio in the chat says Killer Clowns from Outer Space needs a remake. Yeah, I'd love to see a remake of that. I
I think
would.
that would be
It's a fun
fun.
movie. It'd be so
Yeah.
fun, and I definitely see the new company that James. I was gonna say James Blum. Yes, Jason Blum and James Wan have together. That'd be fun. That seems like
It
they
would
could
be
do
fun.
that.
Yeah.
There's
The
a
new
question.
Beetlejuice, horror or not, um, I would say it's horror because of the concepts it deals with, and I always considered Beetlejuice horror,
I do
but,
too.
uh,
It's a light. It's not. It never scared me, even as a kid.
no.
But I have a Beetlejuice. Is it this leg? Yeah, tattoo. Um, I
I've
love
always loved
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah. I
I
feel
love.
like
There's so
it's
many great.
spooky.
Can I tell you one of my
Yeah.
favorite nerdy jokes in it
Yeah.
that I didn't get until I was older? Um, it's not that kind of joke. It's like, oh yes, I've heard of him. He's such a great artist. He did that talking Marcel statue. Because for those that don't know, Marcel Marcel was a mime, so it's a joke on. It's just the absurdity of it, and it's like, of course, Delia's
Yeah.
friends having this conversation, and I love Delia. I love everybody in that. Well, Jeffrey John, but anyway, but no, I think something doesn't have to be. I'm of the camp of something doesn't have to be scary or spooky to be a horror movie. I mean, it's got ghosts,
Mhm.
possession.
I
It's
mean, do
got
you
a
count
villain.
Shaun of the Dead as horror? I mean, someone gets gutted,
Yeah.
but it's a hilarious movie and it's not scary. Yeah, I think horror for me has always been like I've always had a very broad definition of what is considered the horror genre for me. It's always been if the main plot deals with people dying, getting eaten, maimed, or murdered, it's horror.
Yeah. Or
So,
ghosts, like like
Yeah.
Casper. I mean, I don't
They're
think
dead.
they're
And
dead
there's a
for the
lot of
most
murdering
part.
happening in Casper too. Those ghosts are murdering people.
And he's a little boy ghost. That's sad,
Yeah,
guys. That's
yeah.
sad. There's a
And do you
question
remember the
that
lady in that? Oh god, she was such a good villain.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
she
I
had
haven't
a
seen
voice
Casper
like
in a
this.
long time. I always love a voice like this. There's a question
God.
that what's the hardest part of putting yourself in the public eye for your photography, podcast, or TikTok? As a woman on the internet, Justine, what has been the hardest part for you? Whether it's TikTok or our podcast.
Consistency, just staying on top of it because it can become it can weigh on you like work.
Hmm.
So I would say that's the hardest part, consistency, because you don't want to fail the people that you're promising things to. So that's hard. Other than that, I've always been kind of an open book and pretty ridiculous. So in fact, Fabio knows me from way back in the day. He could
Oh,
probably
really
vouch
nice.
for that. Yeah.
Fabio, I can't believe it's not butter. Sorry, that's really
Uh,
cheesy of me to say. I remember those
um,
commercials, like they were on all the time.
I've always been a corny little weirdo. Ayo, yeah. So I it's not. I've always also been like a girl in a space that maybe isn't comprised of a lot of women. So uh it's never bothered me. I guess I'm just used to it. I don't know. That's it. Consistency. It's hard to keep on it to make sure that I'm doling out what I need to keep us successful.
I think, well, I mean, since the public eye sounds like such a big phrase for what
We're
we
very
or I
small.
myself do, we're small. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't run it. So, with the smaller you are, the
Mhm.
less problems you run into.
Mhm.
Um, whether it's been my Instagram because I sometimes show my titties on the Instagram or our podcast or my opinion
Yeah.
about horror movies. Most of the time it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to give examples, but it's
I
happened
think
in
we have a great community.
we do have a great community, and that's what is one of the best parts of what we do is that we don't it's
Mhm.
about gaining community and people that just really love movies, and they get to we get to talk to them, and they talk to we get to talk to each other
Mhm.
and kind of make friends. But sometimes just as a woman that is on the internet more so than anything else, it doesn't happen very often to me because again, I don't have like this huge audience, and I'm not going to give examples. Is nothing that's interesting anyway. From time to time, for different reasons, sometimes someone will take your work, whether it's a photo or something you
Mhm.
say about a movie, and they'll create their own narrative about it or about
Mhm.
you. And again, this very rarely happens to me or us. And it's
Mhm.
sometimes it's a bad narrative, someone trying to be mean or what have you, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes somebody means well, but they kind of illustrate you in a way that is not your preferred way. But it's and
Mhm.
in that instance, what you have to do is you just kind of have to accept it. Like whether you're
Mhm.
fighting somebody that's trying to be negative or mean for no reason, or whether someone's painting a light on you that isn't your favorite, even though it's
Mhm.
not mean. It's you just kind of have to accept it that you're not always in control of the narrative. And I assume the bigger the audience you have, the more often that happens. But you just kind of have to just suck it up and just kind of move on from it, and that's all you can really do. And it's fine. But
There's a
I mean, I
bug.
haven't really had any huge problems anyway. There's a
Yeah, I
question
think
that
as we
you
grow, I think as we grow, I might have different concerns that change. One concern I always have is whether I'm gonna unintentionally hurt somebody's feelings or um, something like that. I never, never want to hurt someone's feelings or be an asshole intentionally to any one person. And I'm never talking to any one person when I do say asshole-ish stuff on here. I'm mostly being general about the way I feel about things that I've received. It's
I have no beef with
personal.
anybody.
It's
We don't have a
very
beef with
subjective.
anybody.
I have no well, uh, yeah, no, not really. Mm-mm. Except for Jamie Lee Curtis. Girl.
Mm, mm, mm,
Mhm. Mhm.
mhm.
Okay, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
This is a question. I don't know what it means. You might, and if you don't, we'll just move on. Who do you think the Antler Queen is? Is that something that resonates with you?
Antler Queen?
Yeah. Like
Demeter? I don't know.
Okay, never mind. Never
I don't
mind.
know.
Never mind.
I am the Antler Queen.
I am the Antler Queen.
Would
I thought it
either of
was
you two want to direct? Well, I'm actually in the process of writing a short film right now. So yes.
yes. I wanted to do short horror flicks. I am
Mhm.
currently I can't give new news on it yet, but I am still working on Kinder Trauma, and I am technically at the moment the co-director. Crazy to me too. I'm going through transcripts, and I haven't
Mhm.
scheduled a particular interview yet, but an interview with an artist I really think is really great and funny that I think a lot of folks would be excited for. And when I can say it, I will. I've never been on a project like this before. So is directing a documentary remotely like same for other people? I have no clue. But yes, we do want to create we all have our own in particular creative things, and obviously we want to
Mhm.
work together as much as we can. It's just
Mhm.
we have other I like everybody. We have jobs and family lives and stuff like that, and we just do the best we
Mhm.
can to put our creative life in that as well. Great question.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would always like when I talked about doing this short film, I immediately went to Emma and Crystal and was like, if you guys want to be a part of this, please be a part of it. And I will share everything in here along the way and we can build it together and that would be really awesome. So I always want to include them because they're like the first person I tell anything to. So when I was like, I want to write a short film, I immediately told them what I wanted to do.
Oh,
So
there's
it's
a
going to be like
question
a
about Crystal.
mm,
Which
where
the question is, did Crystal run away with Joseph Quinn? And as far as I know, I don't know.
wouldn't that be a good story?
Wouldn't
I
that
would
be a great
love that for
story?
her.
I would love
No,
that for her.
no,
Unless she's
she's
keeping
just
it a secret from us, then
we're just
no.
taking a little break and she's moving in the process. That's it.
And
That's
like
it.
moving
And
is
moving
like
is freaking hard.
extremely.
Yeah. So she's taking a little break so she can move and get settled in her new space to be able to film quality with us again. And we're doing these lives. I almost couldn't come today, so it's actually the perfect timing for us to be taking a break. The beginning of summer, especially May, is really hard for me. So just a little breaky,
Yeah,
like
cool.
our season break.
I mean, I would love that for her. But as far as
I
I
would
know,
too.
I don't know. And if we did know, we probably couldn't.
And they lived happily ever after.
We couldn't tell you probably, but as far as I know, that is not
I
the
would
case.
tell you guys. I would tell you guys.
Oh,
I would
the
give you
NDA we
all
signed,
the
Justine.
tea.
How dare you?
I would never
Screw
sign
the
an
lawyers.
NDA. I don't know if I'd ever sign an NDA.
Oh, I
In fact,
would in a heartbeat.
there's a few times where people have like offered me like to watch their films and stuff, but they wanted me to sign NDAs. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna sign anything. Sorry.
Are you kidding?
Enjoy your movie.
Oh my god.
No.
I have no problem with NDAs.
Yeah.
If I was
I don't like people telling me what I can and can't say. Like I just don't like it. I'm sure there's NDAs out there that are good enough and I could probably sign. But I don't like to be in the headspace to where like someone's wanting me to watch something and then talk about it, but then you're gonna have me sign an NDA about what I can say about your film. I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, I totally could. I'm really good at keeping secrets. And if I was a famous person or had a project out there I didn't really like people talking about, I totally would get like I want control over it and I want control over my narrative. So I would totally sign an NDA, and not all of them, obviously. It depends on it, but I would if I like seeing movies early, so I 1,000%.
Yeah, a lot of them I've read
yes.
are like requiring you to make a positive post about the film and stuff. And I'm
I've
like,
never gotten a thing like that, so
and it gives me
different.
the ick because like clearly you don't have faith in your project.
Yeah. I mean, that's different. I mean, not being able to give away spoilers or I understand them saying, "Hey, we're gonna let you watch our
Yeah.
film. If you don't like it, you can't post anything bad about it, but you don't have to post something positive. That's different
Oh
than you
no,
have
like
to say
it
something nice."
required like a minute long video on TikTok and it's
A
like
minute. Oh my god.
a
Mhm.
minute.
A minute. I know that sounds like not long, guys, but it actually is on
It is,
TikTok. It's
especially
pretty
if I
long.
end up not liking it.
Mhm.
There's a mosquito in here and I think it bit me and now it's just flying in my light.
Well, since you have a Jonesy T-shirt on, there is a question here. I just have to find how it was worded. Mm-hmm.
One's there. Um, I have Crypticon on Saturday. I'll probably post something. Oh yeah, Crypticon's this weekend, huh? I am not going. I have my daughter this weekend and I just had her birthday last weekend. I'm tired.
Oh, I found
Weekend
the
off.
question, but today was, and I have some stuff I wanted to share a little bit, nothing too in depth. Is today was
Mhm.
the first day of the Cannes Film Festival, and so
Ooh.
obviously I wanted to know, well, what movies are considered horror movies that are going to be either in competition or being
Mhm.
shown. And I have four
Mhm.
flicks. I mean, obviously, Wes Anderson's film is in competition. Asteroid City, that looks, I like Wes Anderson, so that
Mhm.
looks good to me. Martin Scorsese's film, Flowers of the Blood Moon, is showing.
Mhm.
Strange Way of Life. Moldovar's short flick with Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke is showing. Obviously,
Mhm.
I'm excited for that. But these are flicks that are in particular. Three of them are in competition, and I don't know if there's I don't know which competition. I'm sorry. And then the one is just kind of a retrospective. So one that is a film called In Flames. And it's after the death of a family patriarch. A mother and daughter's precarious existence is ripped apart. They must find strength in each other if they are to survive the malevolent forces that threaten to engulf them.
Hmm.
And details. This one is it says country, it's in the language URDU. It's a Canadian and Pakistani film.
Urdu. Yep.
Yes. So that looks good. There's a movie called Sleep, which is a Japanese film. A young couple's life is turned upside down when the husband sleepwalks and turns into someone else after dark. His wife, overwhelmed by the
Ooh.
fear he will harm their newborn baby, uh,
Oh.
can no longer sleep. And then it's
Oh,
the
that
end.
would be that would oh. I wonder if that's gonna be like a touch on postpartum depression and
It
early
sounds like
motherhood because the minute you said newborn baby and like him sleepwalking and turning into somebody else, I immediately thought of like my life when my daughter was first born. I was like
mm. And there's
not
also
getting sleep
postpartum
anyways because of the
psychosis.
anxiety.
Yeah.
Not getting enough sleep because of anxiety and wondering like every sound or movement if I need to wake up and take care of something with her. But like the idea that sometimes you feel very alone as a mom when you're with your newborn
Mhm.
because everybody else has to continue on with life and you have I have FMLA, so I'm at home with the baby 24/7. She's my one responsibility, and
It's
it
a
was
big one though.
anxiety inducing. It is a big one. It's anxiety inducing, so I think that one's gonna really impact me. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be good, but it might be. It might I don't know. What's
We'll
that movie
see.
with, Charlize Theron where she I think she had a child and her one of her kids was autistic maybe? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, I
Tully.
haven't seen that one.
I tried to watch that because it came out right after I had my daughter. I was on maternity leave with her, and I tried to watch that movie, and I couldn't because it was, like, adding to my anxiety too much. I need to go back and watch it because I heard it was really good, but do not
Pessimisty
watch
said,
Beelzebub.
yeah, Beelzebub.
Okay.
I'll shut it. Yeah, it's a very baby related
I will
movie. And
note
then the
that.
other one that is a new film that is in competition is called Tiger Stripes. Zaphon
What?
12 lives in a small what? Tiger stripes?
That sounds really familiar.
Zaphon 12 lives in a small rural community in Malaysia. In full puberty, she realizes that her body is changing at an alarming rate. Her friends turn away from her when a mass hysteria hits the school. Fear spreads, and a doctor intervenes to chase away the demon that haunts the girls, like a tiger harassed and dislodged from its habitat. Zaphon decides to reveal its true nature, its fury, its rage, and its beauty. So that sounds interesting as well.
It looks very vampiric.
Yeah, it's got a very angry child with blood coming out of their mouth, and
Yeah.
and then
And then, like, magenta glowing eyes.
I'm into it. I like the tigers are not afraid. It's good.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yes, that's a good one. And then the retrospective from 1960 is The Skeleton of Mrs. Morales by Ruggiero
Morales or Morales?
Morales.
Oh,
What's the name? Mrs. Morales. I'm bad at
Morales.
pronouncing. Yeah.
Morales.
And it's by Rogelio Gonzalez. And I actually haven't seen
Morales.
it, so I was gonna see if it was on YouTube because it's not streaming anywhere. A taxidermist decides to murder his wife after having to put up with her. I have to put up with her, I'm sure. After 20
Sure.
years of hellish marriage. I'm sure. I like that's our immediate
And you
thought.
must
Like,
have
I'm
tried
sure
everything before that, right?
everything
Before you
the
got to
taxidermy.
murder.
Sure.
Wow,
I'm
reasonable,
sure it's been
reasonable. As
hell
a
for
taxidermist,
you.
you're like,
I'm
well,
sure.
I tried murder.
And taxidermy. Because I'd be lonely without her. And then the question was that your shirt reminded me of. Fact that we're getting an Alien series and not a film. Good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing. I'm glad. I think the world and universe that can be built with Giger art and the ideas around xenomorphs and the fan fiction and the like lore that has been built around it just opens up a world of possibilities for us to enjoy. It's one of those, I don't know, it's just one of those areas or franchises that I never get tired of watching. I haven't, there isn't one of them that I didn't like or enjoy watching in some level. Even the AVPs I had a blast watching. So I will take as much as that universe and lore as I can get. So, and you can get a lot more of it if you have a show. It's like a bunch of mini movies. Yeah.
So I have a which I don't know a lot about what's planned for the show, but there's some mention of Impetigore and Queen of Black Magic in our chat, which are Malaysian horror flicks. Those are both Yoko Anwar, which this film is not. But always a shout out to Yoko Anwar, who's an awesome director who makes. I loved Satan Slaves and Satan Slaves 2 that both are on Shutter. I think they are what The Conjuring should be. But anyway, Alien.
The
So,
menu. Sorry.
No, it's okay. With the Alien, so I don't know what is planned for the Alien. Is Ripley going to be in the Alien series, or is
so? From my understanding, no. This is like. I think this is going to be more about the coming of Wayland Core and how it ended up where we are with the colonies and stuff. And I think that there's going to be more political intrigue and like corporate espionage stuff going on with a sci-fi element. And we're going to find out more about the Wayland Core intentions, including maybe them knowing a bit more about the xenomorphs than they let on prior. And maybe their intentions for why they sent colonies of people there. Maybe it was more experimental, and they knew a bit more than they let on. I think that's what it's going to cover, which is what I'm excited about. Because I want to say it's before the first Alien film is what they're talking about. And before Prometheus. So pre-Prometheus.
That'd be cool. I mean, I'm always have a more bias against series as opposed to movies, but I mean, I don't know enough to really say. I mean, I had to see it. I mean, that's the thing. It's hard for me to say if it would have been better as a movie or it's better as a series without seeing what they do with the material.
That's true. I think because it's a prequel, and they can be very serious with it. Um, with a show, I think they can do a lot more and explore a lot more season after season or episode after episode than you can with just a movie. Um, and like I said, the lore around it and the ideas that have spurned from that lore, I'm just excited to see what they do with it, what kind of stuff they open us up to. Um, so that's interesting to me. Yeah, and the different like the space marines and stuff, like and the colonizers, like that sounds bad, but the colonies that they are sending out there,
Mm-hmm.
for different reasons and like they're like engineers. Wasn't she like a space engineer of some sort?
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they called it. That kind of stuff, seeing that stuff, and like maybe we're following one of them coming up, and being a digger or something or space whatever. And then
Give
we'll
us some
follow a
lady
space
scientists.
marine
We
or something.
love lady scientists.
Yeah,
Always.
it's just I think it's going to be really interesting to watch.
Women in
checked
STEM.
have you guys checked out any of the Apple TV series yet? Because I've been watching
Which one?
the one with Rebecca
Silo?
Ferguson, Silo. Yeah, I've been
I've seen
watching that.
ads for it everywhere, but again, I don't watch a lot of series because I'm a
It
snob. So
hooked me.
mm.
That show, for one, all I need to say is Rebecca Ferguson and Rashida Jones. Watch it. Like they're so interesting. And the show is, I don't know, it's giving me like it's post-apocalyptic. It gives me like Lost vibes where like you don't know what the F's going on, and neither do the people that you're watching. But they're all doing something, even if they don't understand why they're doing it. It's just really interesting. So I've been hooked. And you slowly get these little breadcrumbs of what could be happening, but it just ends, and then you're like, "What happened?" And you're still not sure, but something's going on that's a little nefarious. So it's really cool. It's really cool to watch.
I've seen a
I
lot of
really
ads
am
for it. It
enjoying
doesn't
it.
look bad. It's like on a list. Hello, the Monster
Yeah.
King, who told us
Hi.
a joke on his way in. Very cute. And I like films. Mentioned Hannibal as a good example of how, which I haven't
Yeah.
seen, because
I
it's hard.
love that show.
Oh, but how example he's mentioning how Hannibal is a good series example of how they can expand a story. I can't say on that. I mean, for
Especially
me,
a story that's before.
my favorite part of the Thomas Harris adaptations, which isn't apparent in all of them, is Clarice Starling is my favorite part. So it's really hard to. I'm in it for Clarice more than I am Hannibal or Will Graham. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like a bad show. Everyone that I know loves it, and
I
I
love
like
it.
Mads Mikkelsen a lot. I loved him in The Green Butchers when he's bald and sweaty. I always love it when an actor, especially when they're an actor known for being good looking, plays a
There's
not good
2
looking character.
strong women in that show too that you would, I think, really
But
like.
Clarice, I love
No,
her.
but I mean, what's her face is in it, and she's freaking
I'm sure
amazing.
I'd really like everyone, like
Uh,
people that I
Scully.
know.
God, why can't I not think of her name? I keep wanting to say
Gillian Anderson.
Jillian. Yeah, Gillian Anderson. She's in it, and
I love her.
she's like head to head with Hannibal most of that show.
Ooh,
It's
I'd like to
really
see
good.
that. I'd like to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Catherine Isabel. She's great in that show. Yeah, no,
Here's a
Hannibal is fantastic. I 100% love Hannibal, and again, I wasn't really sure it was gonna be good because it's a prequel, and we know how the story ends, and that can be really difficult, but that show was so good, and it was one of those shows that surprised me. Go check out me and Crystal do our top 13, television series lists. Go check out that episode on YouTube, because we do talk about Hannibal quite a bit, and you guys can hear about it there, and I don't have to go into it again, but it's good. I was just surprised that it was on TV at the time, that they would show so much.
I've heard there's a lot of gore in it.
There's literally like body part art. Like,
I like that. I love that.
yeah, it's really cool.
Okay, so Justine, you go first if you would like to. Or again, we don't have to answer these questions. I might not answer this one. I probably won't. If you could, and it's not a lewd one. It's just I feel like we've just touched upon this in different ways.
Mhm.
If you could only have sex with one celebrity crush, who would it be?
Tom Hardy.
I would have guessed that for you.
Yeah.
And he's actually
For
very
Tom.
serious about the roles he takes on. He's very serious about narrative film.
He
He's
is
an interesting
so
person.
talented.
Yeah.
Just talented. Sorry. Yeah, Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, 100%. But you know, he's married and that could be
Yeah,
weird.
well, this is all
So,
fantasy. I mean, it's just
yeah.
like it's not meant to be serious.
But Tom, if you're ever single,
Or maybe open. They have an
mm,
open thing.
shit, yeah.
Don't
I
need
will
to know the
be
dates.
I will be your extra anytime. You're +1. Yep.
So anytime
Sorry.
not every time, but sometimes when I dally into these types of questions, it gets like of 3 hours of me talking. It's the one that gets clipped, and sometimes folks will tag the celebrity in it, and I don't. It's not nothing wrong with that. I'm just not crazy about it. It's not my style. So I'm gonna abstain tonight. I don't know what a celebrity crush is. I don't know what sex is. I don't understand the question.
What? What is the sex?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't mind. Yeah.
I
Tom
usually
Hardy.
don't mind, but
What's the next question?
right now I'm a little not in the mood.
You know, Cillian Murphy too. How about Tom Hardy and Cillian? Why choose?
They're both in the Batman universe.
They're both in a lot of things together, actually. They star together a lot. They were in a lot of things. Anyways.
The Monster King says he can kill my Murphy.
Kill my Murphy.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they were both in Peaky Blinders. They were both in Inception. Yeah, they were in a lot of stuff together. I'm sure there's more. I've seen like a meme of them like side by side in a multitude of films together, with their two characters next to each other.
They have an eye for good projects. I definitely say that about both of them. I like them both. They're not celebrity crushes of mine, but I think they're interesting men, and I think they're very talented.
I love all the coverage that Cillian Murphy is known for not being really on social media at all. This is going to be a little bit of a tangent about him, but he is constantly memed about and like recorded for being this guy in interviews or pictures who always looks like he's angry at somebody. Because he's always like,
I just think he's just not into it, like the whole media
machine.
He's just like,
so
I can relate.
Like,
I can relate.
Just existing.
like I'm just existing.
Yeah, and I love that everybody loves it though. Nobody's like talking down about it. They're like, Cillian Murphy is all of us at work in a meeting that we don't want to be in. Like everybody loves it and relates to it. So
I think as time goes on, which we've always been aware for quite some time, but the idea that we know that especially when they're in a new movie or big series, you know, actors or directors, especially actors, seem to have to like it's part of their contract. They have to promote it in a certain length. So seeing somebody like
those news junkets that they have to do.
Yeah, I'm here for my contractual obligation.
They're like sitting in there for 8 hours sometimes.
Oh my God.
Like just in one room for 8 hours answering the same questions over and over again as people just rotate in to ask them questions for their paper or their article or whatever that they're covering for, to ask the same exact question.
I would think that's the hardest part of the job.
That would be the hardest thing for me to do. Be like, oh, you can read that in Variety. Ask me something new. Be creative. I would be Jamie Lee Curtis, I guess.
In your own way. You don't put fans down, though. That's the
no,
thing
I would never.
Or your fellow
actresses.
I would
never. No.
Or your fellow actresses. You would never.
Never.
So this is a question that's very difficult for me. Hollywood or Jessica Rabbit? As in Hollywood if she could.
What?
Hollywood from Cool Worlds, Kim Basinger.
Or Jessica Rabbit. They're like the same.
19.
You know,
22. You
I
let
really like Cool
other
World,
women make a
but
fool of you. I can't
Jessica
sing.
Rabbit was a vibe, and a vibe that didn't need that vibe, if that makes sense. Cool World was a sexy movie. It was meant to be. She was, like, sexy. It was meant to be the whole movie sexy. Like, it's an adult film. Like,
So do you have one over the other?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is kind of a kids family movie, and Jessica
Mhm.
Rabbit is sexy. And I think because she's sexy still, and they put her in there, and she is who she is unabashedly, and we all love her for it, I am all for it. I'm for Jessica Rabbit, I think.
So I have to
That's
say both.
positive.
I love them both. I mean, as you said, they're both great. So with
Yeah.
Jessica Rabbit, she's iconic. I mean, for anybody that even whether you're no matter what gender you are, whether or whether it's drag or whether it's you're just a woman dressing as Jessica Rabbit, everyone that does it really well, like even if you have that body kind of already, which nobody does, you know, she's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
I love
It's
that line. Oh my
I
god,
know it's
yes.
I think that you know they'll course it up and they'll you
Yeah.
know if they're not endowed naturally they add like because that those curves like just really don't exist because she's
Yeah.
just and in a way that's not bad and it's not a way that like sets a precedent that doesn't exist. It's more her attitude, her vibe that adds to the sexiness. And I mean that's one of my favorite movies is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I love Kathleen Turner. I just rewatched Serial
Howling
Mom for
Winds.
Mother's Day. And Kathleen Turner and Body Heat, which I know she's had trouble with that role in the sense that she felt she was overly sexualized, but you did it well, Kathleen Turner. And you know Redhead. You know I loved. You can't not love Jessica Rabbit. I think that yeah,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I have a more. I don't prefer Hollywood if she could. I think that it is a more adult film, and she is kind
Mhm.
of the villain, even though she's kind of understandable. Like her wanting to be a human being is understandable that she wants to see what that's like. You know, she's not trying to
Yeah.
hurt anybody else, even though what to do what she wants and get what she wants, it's gonna hurt other people, and she doesn't care. But she doesn't see. But the thing about it is,
Mhm.
so one of my first real celebrity crushes was on Kim Basinger, who is Hollywood if she could when she turns into a human and she does the voice and the
Mhm.
cartoons dressed up. But it wasn't from Cool World because I hadn't seen Cool World until a little later.
Mhm.
From her is Vicky Vale in Batman, and her in My Stepmom's an Alien, and she's. I didn't know a woman could be that beautiful. I was
Mhm.
mesmerized by Kim Basinger. So I kind of have like that childhood like
Bias.
oh wow. So I
Yeah.
can't both. I can't choose between
Mhm.
these they're too awesome. So great question whoever
Yeah.
asked it. That's a fun
Yeah,
question.
it's
That's
a
a
good
fun
one.
one.
That's a fun one. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a tough one and a fun one. What's the
Mhm.
next question? What else we
All
got?
right, here's
That was
another
a good one.
okay. Um
If you've
okay.
never seen Cool World, I highly recommend it. It's a good film. It's a good
It's
one.
chaotic. It's chaotic and I like it. I like that about it.
Yeah.
That's something we could do. That's just something we could do on an episode if we find the right topic. Did you hear they're making a Black Phone 2? Which I did. But what we know about it so far is basically Jason Blum. I can't remember what convention, but at a convention recently, just was having a general conversation about franchises, and he was talking about
Mhm.
Megan and the Black Phone and making them franchise and that they're going to make them into franchises. There's no confirmed, as far as I know, there's no confirmed cast list. It's not even confirmed that Scott Derrickson's directing or that Joe Hill's part of the writing or Robert Cargill.
Or any of the actors that are returning.
Yeah, so there's like no cast, nothing at the moment. So there's probably going to be another one. I know that there is an extremely big fan base, younger fan base, a lot for the kids and the kids, so teenagers, young men and women in the movie, and I definitely understand that. So I don't know if they're going to bank on that. And the grabber became quite popular, and people were dressing up as. And I've seen a lot of grabber tattoos. I'm like, that's fast. You know, good for you. I
Yeah,
want to
they
get
could go a lot of directions with another film.
And so I don't know if they might have the kids, but not the grabber, and move on to a different villain of sorts. Especially if they plan to franchise it, because I don't know what anybody is thinking or what
I
anybody
would
plans with
prefer
their career.
that personally. If they
Yeah.
do, I would prefer that over like a Grabber prequel or a
No,
Grabber
but the grabber
copycat.
prequel is not a good idea because I don't want to
Well,
know.
yeah, I don't need to know more about
We
him.
we don't need to know more about him. If they have the grabber
No.
again, I'd see it more like if they made him like the tall man in Phantasm or Freddy Krueger, but not like jokey like Freddy Krueger, but kind of like he psychically enters their dreams or he's a ghost of sorts. If they had him in it, but the thing is,
Mhm.
I don't. Again, I don't know what anybody plans with their career, but I can't see Scott Derrickson or Ethan Hawke signing up for maybe a sequel, but not a franchise. So I think it would
Mhm.
change. So I don't know if they're going to have it change
I'd follow
immediately in
those
the
kids
second one.
into another movie. I
I
would love to
Madeline
see them
McGraw's
embracing
fantastic.
their talents and, like, becoming closer as siblings, um, and seeing where their life goes with their father and all of that.
Yeah, I mean,
I would love to
I'd
see
love to
that.
see. I'd watch it even if it was a totally different movie. I mean, I'm a
Mhm.
Blumhouse fan, so yeah. So I think I'm excited that they're making another one. I mean, it's hard to have too much of a thought on it because they could be making something completely different cast, but somehow
Mhm.
maybe involves a black phone. I don't know.
Mhm.
Keep the
Mhm.
phone.
Oh,
Keep
yeah,
the
like, maybe the kid just starts using a phone, a disconnected phone, to channel his
or
powers.
another family moves into that house where the phone's still there.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I don't know.
Or the kid keeps going back and visiting it to connect.
And then so they could
Something,
go
yeah.
supernatural and the grabber haunt the young girl and girls since they see ghosts as I like films. Um and then Sidney Prescott had said, I was wondering if they'd go for a prequel with Black Phone 2. I mean, with the
I
prequel,
hope
I've seen
not.
people say that, well, we could see what he did to the other kids. We kind of know. I mean, I
We
like the other
know.
kids
I don't
coming
need to
back
see
as
it.
ghosts and like
Yeah.
him being how he is and why he does it. We know. I mean, the only thing that can vary is maybe he had a tough childhood, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just born wrong or something of that. But I mean, there's nothing interesting about that. I mean, if
Mm-mm.
they make it, I'll probably see it, but
Mhm.
it probably won't be very
I
good.
don't think it would do well.
But
Like,
they've got not only Scott Derrickson and Robert Cargill, but Joe Hill. I think they're going to come up with something more creative than that. And Optimisty said, I don't see them not involving Ethan Hawke in some fashion. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be the grabber, but be something else. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
mhm.
Let's see. I have some other news that could be fun. Is The Devil's Mouth Fantasy Island filmmaker Jeff Waldo
Mm.
or Wadlow, who made
Mhm.
Deep Blue Sea, is making another shark horror movie. And that's all I know.
Uh,
And we posted in our Discord the Meg 2 trailer, so we've got some
and
sharks
isn't there
movies
one
coming.
called, like, what is it called? The oh my god, I think it has, like, Gerard Butler or something. The one with the gas line
Is he still a
thing,
movie
uh,
here or
demon
there?
shark movie coming out.
I'm always
Oh, The Black Demon, that's what it's called. The
oh
Black
nice.
Demon. Who is
You know,
in that? Who was I
all of
thinking?
us, especially Crystal, I'll speak for her even though she's not here. We love shark movies. So I'm always up for it. Even if it's looks terrible, like Franken Shark, which I haven't seen, which is
Why
by
did
the
I say
McFry
Gerard
brothers.
Butler? It's
Who
not
is
Gerard
it?
Butler, it's Josh Lucas.
Oh, I don't know who
The
that
guy
is.
from he was from, uh, Sweet Home Alabama. He's, like he's in a lot of random stuff, but he hasn't been in a lot lately.
Fabio says it's a
I wanna
shark
see it though.
tsunami. That's funny.
Oh,
That's
the zombie tsunami?
or that's from the Rift Tracks version of Sharknado because it's not really a
Oh.
tornado. I don't know, but good comment, Fabio. Anyway, Fabio, I can't believe it's not butter. Sorry, I'm really
Yeah.
quiet. I'm
No,
gonna
I'm
try.
always down for I think Meg 2 looks like a good time. I'm
It looks
excited
fun.
for it.
It looks
It looks
fun.
like it's gonna be a blast. I love it when like Jason Statham just embraces the ridiculous franchises he gets put in and just nails it. He takes it seriously in the best way. Like he doesn't just he takes it seriously. He actually acts in these films and does well and embraces them and their ridiculousness. And I love that. Just like I'm gonna watch Fast X, I'm gonna probably fucking love it. Like that's just I like that
I
kind of
mean,
movie.
with some movies, you just know you're just going in for a good time.
Exactly. That's how Renfield was. It's a good
That just
time.
looked like a good. It looked like it was supposed to be silly, goofy fun, and I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say
They're
if
asking
it
if your
delivered for
headphones are
me.
put on correctly this time. Or
Yours
are
or
they
mine?
backwards?
Oh,
Yours.
mine. They are put on correctly this time. The last time is I had my headphones on backwards. I was pretty tired last time we talked. But I was fine, obviously. But
My
I'm
favorite
like, wow,
movie
even my headphones are backwards.
My favorite shark movie is Jaws in Reverse. It's a backwards version of Jaws where the shark gives limbs to disabled people. That's
I
funny.
assume that's not a real movie. If it is, link me up to it because I'd watch that. Uh, so, and then Pessimisty had said very close to the Last Shark, which I haven't seen.
I don't think I've seen that either.
Mm,
But
here's
I'm excited for the Black Demon. I'm excited for the Meg 2. I'm excited for this other, what did you call it? The Devil's Jaw? The Devil's
no, but
Mouth?
that'd be a good one.
The Devil's
The
Mouth?
Devil's Mouth, yes.
Yeah. The Devil's Jaw.
The Devil's
Like Jaws.
Jaw.
That would have been
Yeah,
so much
it would have been.
funnier.
They
But
gotta make
I
it.
am excited for those. What I'm really excited about is that Mike Flanagan is doing another Stephen King film. I'm excited to see The Boogeyman, which is also Stephen King work,
Ah,
and I think has some of the coolest posters. They keep dropping some killer poster art. For all the shitty posters we've been getting, I'm excited where this new direction in posters is going. Like Barbarian was really cool. Boogeyman showed like just this, it was all white with like a black door that was cracking open. Oh, so good.
that's a Angela Gomez Hernandez directed film written by Juma Fade, who did You Should Not Sleep.
Mhm.
And it looks like I've seen a lot of things about vague things about it, but the Boogeyman looks very good. It said straight out of Cannes, and I'm like, it's not in the Cannes Film Festival, so I don't know if it was directed there. I don't know why they say that, but because I couldn't find anything from
They're
the
not,
Cannes Film
aren't they
Festival about
doing
it.
first viewings at Cannes?
They are, but not from everything I could find, which doesn't mean it's correct. That movie is not on the first viewings, so I don't know. I could be
Hmm.
wrong. I just, you know,
It is
but
it is based off of a Stephen King work. I recommend to you guys not look into what it's about if you don't know already, because I think that it's a film that has a story that is better experienced than known. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be real scary, and I think I'm going to cry a lot. But I love Stephen King work. He just
I do
nails it
too.
for me. And so I'm excited for it, but I'm more excited for The Life of Chuck, which is going to have Mark Hamill in it,
Oh
starring in it.
yeah.
And wow, Tom Hiddleston, who I also
Oh,
adore,
that looks very interesting. I love him as
and
Loki. He's hot as Loki.
directed
Okay.
by Mike Flanagan. And I just think Mike Flanagan and Stephen King go together like Oreos and milk or Oreos and ice cream.
They're both very much humanitarians, and it very much shines through in their work in a way that
Yeah.
is that just works so well with horror and getting to the heart of
Mhm.
horror and humanity itself.
Mhm. So I think it's gonna be knock out of the park, as
And I love
Mike
seeing Mike
Flanagan usually
Flanagan
is.
on the Writers Guild, the Writers Strike March. You know, oh, of course he is because he's
Yeah,
awesome.
him and his, like, filming family. Like, Rahul Ali was out there.
Of course he was. They're both
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. I am glad. I'm glad to see that. I think it's because I think some of these sometimes it's the people who are writers first who understand. So,
Mhm.
they were quick to support, and that's great.
Flavia says you
Um
all do done a live horror watch party. So when Justine can, she does the you do the which is for our slashers, our Patreons. horror
Yeah,
movie night.
Patreon movie night.
And I just started this month, and I'm gonna do it once a month, and I will keep you if you got to be in our Discord to keep updated completely about it. I haven't scheduled the next one, but definitely next month there'll be another Mystery Science Theater watch along, which they're not always horror movies, but we do movie nights,
Misty
and
night.
check out our Discord.
Yeah. So we'll
And
have
I
Misty
just
night,
kept
and if
Crow
you
out.
join our
He'll be
Patreon,
there.
you can be a part of the other movie nights. I think I'm gonna try to get one in next month. I won't be able to do it this month because I have another kid's birthday coming that I gotta celebrate. So it's just a busy month. But next month, when we get back on rotation, I'd like to get that back going. We have
Servo's quartz not working. I gotta find out where it's jumbled. It must be knotted up somewhere. It opens his mouth.
Oh,
he'll be okay. I'll take it. I built him. I will fix him.
We also typically, if you're in our Discord, we will announce the films that we are watching for that week's live filming. So I highly recommend you follow us on Twitch, because that is where you will see the live behind the scenes filming. We go live on YouTube only for these AMAs and trivia nights, but we do live filming on Twitch. So if you want to join our Twitch, you can go ahead and see that there. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe to our Twitch channel with your Prime membership. It gives you a free membership to any Twitch subscriber. You can subscribe to us and get it ad-free, and watch us and join us on that live behind the scenes filming. And we'll talk about the movies that we listed in Discord that we're going to talk about, where we do pick 3, and then our patrons get to pick the 4th. Unless we have a guest, then our guest picks the 4th. Next one we're going to film is Possessions, of the demonic variety.
One of the best possession types.
I'm gonna have to rewatch all 4 of those movies because
me too. I'm like, oh wow. I even I did some research. By research, I mean I re-listened to the last podcast on the left's research they did on the actual true events for the possession of Emily Rose. But I mean, I love re-listening to them. They're great. Here's a could you ever date someone who doesn't like horror movies, Justine?
Probably not, actually. I think if someone is like, I don't like horror movies and I refuse to watch them, we probably wouldn't get along. Because that kind of like absolute is really strange to me. Because there's like I said, I have a very broad idea of what I like for horror. And a lot of what I like, a lot of people like. Like, it's not even, I feel like I'm really good at finding horror that people will like when they say that they typically don't like horror. So if someone's open to watching horror, they're like, oh, I never really got into it, or I've not really watched a lot of it, but I'm open to it, then I would date them. But if they're like completely against it for whatever moral reason, then no, I'm not gonna date them.
I probably could, but again, it depends on the reason. Obviously, if they're like, I really can't get into horror movies. They're not my thing. I'm either really bored or they're too scary. I'd be fine with it. I'm a very solitary person. But I don't think I could go out with somebody that isn't really into film. Like, you don't have to be an expert, but you have to be into it in a certain level. I mean, maybe if you're really into reading, it would make up for it, but narrative storytelling is a big part of, what I'm interested in and my hobbies. It'd be pretty hard if you didn't like movies. Again, as you were saying, Justine, if someone could say, I absolutely can't, I can't watch The Shining, I can't watch Midsummer, I can't watch Friday the 13th, obviously that would translate into Saw and those types of films too.
Yeah, that's fine.
I could deal with it as long as you don't think lesser of somebody that can. Like, if they could say, it's really not for me, I can't do it, but I like and respect that you really like it, that's fine. But then again, most people that think, in my experience, and this isn't people I've dated, just people in general that I've met, they'll say they don't like horror movies, but then they'll like The Shining, which is definitely okay. I rarely say something's definitely a horror movie. That's a horror movie.
Some people subjectively have an idea. Yeah, they have an idea in their mind of what horror is, and that's what they don't like. But you could probably those if they're still open to watching horror films with you or any recommendations you might have, or trusting me to show them a few films that I think that they would like based off of, knowing them. I would not have a problem dating somebody who just doesn't prefer horror. I like film generally. Like I'm not just a horror buff. It typically is my go-to genre, but I like a lot of films. I'll watch anything. So it, I just don't like watching sad stuff. And if someone was really
I
obsessed with
love
watching
watching sad
sad
stuff. I
movies,
love it. I love it.
yeah, like Uncut Gems. I watched it and I was like, this is a great movie. Objectively, I can see this is a great movie. I
It's a
do
great
not enjoy
movie.
this. I did not
I love
enjoy this
it.
feeling. I did not enjoy this ride. To exit.
I
Nope.
loved it. I loved it. I
That's just
respect that
me
you did.
though.
Yeah.
That's just me, and it's not a film that I would gravitate towards again. I wouldn't wanna watch it again. If someone said, "Hey, let's watch Uncut Gems," I haven't seen it, I'd be like, "You can watch that some other time. I'm not watching that movie."
Yeah, we
I
have
don't
plenty of there's a lot of really great different types of movies to watch,
And
and
I
there's a
wouldn't
lot of
want
people.
someone to date me who would force me to watch a film I don't wanna watch or wouldn't enjoy, and I wouldn't want to rain on their parade because I don't wanna watch the sad movies they're obsessed with.
I'm not gonna make somebody watch Saw 5 with me, okay? If you are
No.
okay with watching it with me, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if obviously it's a bonus if you do want to watch it with
I
me
will
and
make
find
you
some
watch Shaun of
value
the
in it.
Dead.
Yeah,
I
well
will make
that's
everybody watch Shaun of the Dead. The whole
obviously it's always a
Cornetto
bonus when
trilogy.
you're willing to open your mind to something that's not usually for you, but you don't have to. But most
Mhm.
people that I know that have said they don't care for horror movies, they'll like and watch Midsummer with me or Igmar Bergman's Hour of the Wolf, which I think definitely are horror movies. They don't think of
Bram
them
Stoker's
as a
Dracula.
horror movie. Bram Stoker's
Yeah,
Dracula or
yeah.
Beetlejuice, you know.
Or Beetlejuice, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I
I
could
feel
date
like I
somebody
could
that
find a horror
generally is.
movie for just about anybody, but I won't date someone who's closed-minded and speaks in absolutes.
Yeah, like if they just say it's garbage and there's something morally or psychologically wrong with people that like that stuff, I can't see why they're dating me.
I
Not that
can't either.
horror. I mean,
I must
horror
be
isn't
fascinating
my.
little creature.
I mean,
What a specimen.
horror isn't my whole personality. That's not what it is. It's just like if you have that strong a feeling about some form of narrative storytelling, I don't know. You seem pretty close-minded to me. I can get you not being
Yeah,
into it and not wanting to watch it, but seeing it as a negative is a little much for me. So that's it.
exactly, exactly. In fact, my boyfriend right now isn't like a big TV watcher. He doesn't watch a lot of shows, and I binge watch shows.
I'm
I
not a
binge
big
watch
show
shows when
watcher
he's
either.
not around, because I can get really into shows and watch them, and I will do that. So when he's not here, I will binge watch a show. When he's here, we enjoy movies together. We watched 65 the other night with Adam Driver. I actually really enjoyed that movie also. It was right up my alley. I liked it. A lot of people did not like that movie. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I guess
Mhm,
it's kind of generic, but
mhm.
I enjoyed it. We enjoyed that movie and we enjoyed watching that movie together.
That's
And
good.
we enjoyed watching Piranha 3D together. Like I
I
share
haven't
with
seen it
him
yet.
films that I like really like that I think are
Fun,
important
like
to me, I guess,
or important.
and
Yeah,
for some reason, Piranha 3D has been really important to me lately.
I should watch it
I'm
soon.
pretty
I should
sure
try to
it's
watch it
because of the
soon.
podcast.
So
Like
after Missy said, it's an interesting question, the idea of whether or not to date someone who doesn't share your favorite pastime slash interest. If someone wasn't a Misty, as in a Mystery Science Theater fan,
yeah,
or thought well, or didn't think well of MSG3K, I'd be at peace with that. If they didn't look down on me or think less of me for having that appreciation. From my
yeah,
end, I hate Julia Roberts movies, but I wouldn't get judgmental on that as long as they're not judgmental. It's all groovy.
100%. 100% agree.
Mhm.
I think that's where it's like, it just depends on what you wanna enjoy and who you wanna enjoy it with, and, whether you're using that to weaponizing it against them or not. So as long as you're not weaponizing it and you're not being closed-minded, I think that's a closed-minded indicator if you say, "I'll never watch horror because it's bad for my mind." Uh, that gives me Jamie Lee Curtis vibes, and I think that's a very horrible thing to say because it makes you're implying that people who watch horror have bad minds. And I don't think that's a fair statement. And it sounds a little too absolute for me. It's okay to
Yeah.
say it's not my favorite genre and then to move on, but to imply that like it's doing damage to someone's mind is just judgmental.
So
Yeah.
this is an interesting question. Justine, have you ever seen a fresh corpse?
Yes, once. Um, uh, I don't know. I guess it's not fresh. No.
So, I mean, the way I was thinking, like, what? No. I'm like, well, actually,
I mean,
over
I've been to
100.
open casket funerals, so like,
I've
seen
seen
that,
many,
but
many, but I didn't think of them as fresh corpses because
mhm,
I worked as a nursing assistant in for almost 10 years in nursing homes and in hospice places. And so part of my job is postmortem care. So shortly after someone passes away, and it's a two-person job because no matter how little somebody, when a person becomes literally dead weight, to do the postmortem care is basically washing the body, and I always
mhm,
lotioned it as well because the skin is usually pretty dehydrated unless there's still have an IV in.
mhm.
Depends. It was my extra touch, but to be gentle with a body that is heavy, you kind of need a two people. And so I've done it more times than I can count. Although they usually were people I at least knew for a few days, if not years. So I didn't think of them as a fresh corpse. Uh, you know,
Yeah, I've never seen someone who freshly died in person. I've seen,
I've
like
seen people
I
die.
grew up in the era where we were watching beheadings on the internet, so I've seen a lot of that. Like,
I've seen a lot of people
um,
die like while they are awake or pass away in their sleep.
mhm.
I've seen a variety, and again, it was part of the job. And yeah, you can separate yourself from it, but it is still there. My screen
I've
went dead
seen
again.
people
Okay,
dying or severely injured, but never actually a fresh corpse.
and
Some real
again,
interesting wording.
interesting. Where I think they meant it in a spooky, scary kind of way.
Like
but
Stand
it
By
was
Me
part of
way,
my.
right? Like found a dead
That's
body.
Yeah, I've never found a dead body where I don't expect to see it. It was always on the job, and
Yeah, more
it
clinical.
pretty expected. Yeah, clinical
Yeah.
way. And it's not. I mean, it is. It is. It does have. It is unusual. It's even people that were I didn't ever really meet, and they were in a coma or just completely asleep from the medication because they were passing away. It's so different when the person isn't
Oh,
alive anymore. I'm not just saying physically,
I
there is
have
just like
seen a
a
fresh
different
corpse
feeling.
now that I
You
think of
have?
it. Yeah, I did volunteer firefighting in high school, and were the first on the scene to in Eastern Washington to a guy that was burned alive in his car. But I don't know if I count that. It was pretty gross, but didn't really look like a fresh corpse anymore.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I've seen. I guess just because I was there when it happened, I mean that's as fresh as you can get. I don't know how fresh they're
Yeah.
looking for. I mean, I think think they're looking for. Again, I don't know who asked this
Let's get
question.
real technical about
Let's
this
get real technical
question.
about it.
Real
No,
semantic.
well, when they phrase fresh corpse, like let's say let's say it was not nefarious. Let's say somebody passed away while walking in the woods, and it's been like 3 weeks, and you found this person that passed away naturally and lived a long, healthy life, and it's not traumatic in the woods after 3 weeks. I mean, that
It's also
might
not fresh
consider.
after 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, technically, is it a fresh corpse? No, but I think that
No.
that's the kind of question it was from the phrasing.
Yeah,
Not a
I
bad
think so
question.
too.
I
Yeah.
just thinking like I
We
haven't.
really
I
went
haven't.
down the rabbit hole with this one.
I know because we're spooky. But no, it's like I
Yeah.
was like, no, I have. Oh, actually, yes. So probably over 100. Technically, yes.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't in a spooky, scary kind of way. Just in that's life kind of way. It's just
Yeah.
life. So here's a different question. Are DILFs just Emma's favorite or all of you's with the Z? I like the Z. And I'm gonna say,
I
yes, I
don't
have.
discriminate.
So I just want to clarify, and I'm not upset about it at all. And I do have a pattern of dating folks that are older than
Older?
me. It's not something I go looking for. And I actually don't, as much fun as the term DILF is, I never think of somebody as a DILF. Because
Mm,
I'm usually, if I'm looking for somebody to actually even just date casually or hang out with. I don't think of them as a DILF. They're just like a person, you know? Like I like them as a person. Not that there's anything wrong with thinking of someone as a DILF. That's not how I personally work. So it's not a requirement for me. But it's
I
not
don't
just me.
discriminate. I don't really have a specific type. If I'm attracted to someone, I'm attracted to them.
Yeah, me too.
If
I
they
just happen to
happen
have a
to be a
pattern.
DILF, then all right. I'm pretty sure Tom Hardy has kids, so yes. But if you mean just like older gentlemen, yeah, probably still yes. I don't have a problem with them. Uh, I feel like I can never find a DILF, but I'm never actively looking for one.
I'm never actively looking, but I seem to have no problem finding them. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I'm the opposite of Emma in that regard.
would a nerdy DILF be a DILFbert? Maybe. I think everyone's a nerd. Let me be a hippy dippy about it. I think everyone's a nerd in their own right. We all have our passions.
About something.
Right? Yeah, we all have our passions, you know? Let's see. Okay. I don't think I know the answer to this. Favorite horror trope and most hated horror trope?
Favorite trope and most hated. One of my favorites is a harbinger. I love a harbinger in horror. Like some
You're
sort of
all
like
going to die.
Yeah, I love it. It doesn't even have to be a person. It could just be this moment of like benign thing that's happening off, kind of off to the side that they suddenly focus in on that and they add dreadful music around. Like in X, it was the cow that got hit in the road. That was a harbinger. I love a good harbinger. My most hated trope, I might be with Optimisty on this. It was all a dream. They wake up and it's like everything that you just went through was just a dream, and it's
like Vanilla Sky.
Especially if you don't have it feeling like some sort of hinting that it's a dream along the way. If it's not a dream,
it just feels like a cop-out.
It's not separate from reality at all, or there's no way for us to, if we wanted to figure out that it was just a dream, then I think it's just a way to like be outside of reality. And
so like, how do we make this make sense? We can't. Let's say it's a dream.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of I don't know. There's a few out there. I'm tired of the naked old people trope. I don't need the naked old people thing to be gross. I think that's so done.
Like, all bodies are beautiful, but again, no. But
getting naked means you're crazy. Like
getting naked means you're crazy, or like, oh look, it's a naked or old person. Isn't that scary? Okay, in this context, it is, but that anybody would
because you made it the context. If anybody was naked in this moment, it would be freaking weird. It's an old person, so we made their body gross. And they always exaggerate the grossness typically, or try to exaggerate it.
Do I look great when I'm like hunched over like this?
Nobody looks good hunched over and like sticking their gut out and sagging their boobs like that. I can look like that too and be freaky looking like a goblin, a naked goblin.
I think my favorite tropes usually revolve everything around I'm a big mad scientist fan, so it's like especially when the mad scientist like loses their last ounce of sanity and they just go full hog on whatever they're doing, like Herbert West. And I like the dynamic between like Herbert West and Dr. Kane, who's Dr. Kane is kind of like the Henry Frankenstein, like he's the sweet humanitarian that thinks about the ethics of what's going on. And Pretorius and Dr. West are like, ethics, I am God. I love that stuff. And their relationships. Those are some of my favorite tropes, is anything pretty much revolving around mad scientist type of stories are usually things I just love. My least favorite, it's not something that just happens in horror. There was a horror movie, and I can't even remember the name of it. And it was a director that people like, but you have to be really into horror to know this. I'll find it and I'll post it. It's and then it happened in the anime Chobits that I read in high school. It happens often sometimes. It happens a little bit in Stranger Things, not to the extent it does in these other stories. Is whenever there's a trope where somebody, they're like in a, well, they're either a child or they're not. And a lot of these in Stranger Things, there is a child, but in the other examples I'm thinking of, they're not a child. They're like in their 20s or 30s. And this person has, and I actually watched a movie with Amanda Plummer called Abigail Harm that had this a little bit too, and I wasn't crazy about it in that either. Is that this person has no idea about the world and how the world works, or sometimes they have to be taught how to eat or how to dress, and it's always one person doing it. Sometimes it's a man, sometimes it's a woman that's teaching the other person, but then that they become a hot
A
and heavy
love
love
interest.
interest, and
Oh,
it's
yeah, that's
gross.
so gross because the power dynamic is just off. Like, yeah,
And
I
it's
don't
always
like that.
played like the
I hate
person taking
that.
care of the other is like so sweet and
Mhm.
awesome, and it's like, they're really dependent on you for a lot emotionally and physically, and they don't know anything else. And the fact that you aren't like kind of separating yourself, even
I
though you
usually
for
hate
some
that
reason
in novels too.
Mm.
They
I
do
mean,
that a lot in
don't
my
get me wrong, if
romance
you're reading
novels.
something on AO3 or reading a dirty novel or it's something
Mhm.
or or porn where it's like, yeah, this is supposed to be salacious and bad and we're into it.
Yeah.
That's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that because it's supposed to be framed in that light. And everyone, it's a story, it's not real. But when it's a story where the other where it's supposed to portray the caregiver is a hero and deserves that on what's that word, um unconditional love from
Mhm.
somebody who is, even if they're old enough but they don't know the word, you know what I mean?
The
It's
like,
like,
the friend zone nice guy trope.
yeah, it's like, they always end up falling in love, and with trope
Yeah.
it's the person is not even a
I was
person, they're
here
an
all
android, but
along.
they've become kind of sentient, so it's not
Yeah.
always like an age thing. It's usually just for some reason one character doesn't know how the world works or doesn't know how taking care of themselves even works, and the other person teaches them that,
Splice.
and it becomes this, yeah, that's gross. Yeah, I don't like that. So when it's framed in a movie where it's supposed to be a normal story and they frame it like it's okay for this and they don't even question it, that's when it's gross to me. When it's supposed to be naughty and fun, that's fine. But when it's supposed
Mhm.
to be, yeah, that bothers me like a
Mhm.
lot. Like I totally shut off when that happens. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it's just so off-putting to me.
Spooky Robin asked a very similar question. He said, "Do you have a pet peeve that bothers you when you watch any genre of movie?" And yes, I have a big one, and it comes with romance or, I guess I don't know if it's romance as much as, like, dramedies or something, but it's whenever someone is doing something that they really enjoy and it's becoming very successful at it, and they're becoming very happy and independent, and they're growing as a person, yet everyone around them is villainizing it, like they're the bad person and that they're, like, moving on without them or something, as if that's how life is, like, you have to choose between being loyal to, like, your friend group or becoming a better person and being happier. Those are really, really bad people. Like, your friends, if they truly adore you and support you, would never make you feel that
Or
way,
partners,
and they
yeah.
villainize that in movies, and I fucking hate it. Devil Wears Prada is a great example of that, where, like, she's becoming successful, she's really good at her job, it turns out she really enjoys it, she's learning more about fashion, so she's becoming more fashionable. She's not becoming superficial, she's just becoming more fashionable, and at no point did she,
Which
like,
is part of
lose
her
her
job.
morality. Yeah, and at no point did she lose her morality or, like, trade in, like, any type of characteristics to become and became a worse person. She just became a workaholic and doing something that she ended up loving, and then people started to not like her for it because she didn't spend enough time with them. And it's like, that's part of what growing in your career does. You have to learn the work-life balance, and if your friends make you choose, they're not good friends, and I wish they would stop making that a villain story in films. I don't like it.
And welcome Culinary Geek Roy, who's the one who came up with the heads of lettuce phrase, by the way, which we all
Hello,
tried in Culinary
hello.
Geek Roy. And he said, my girlfriend went off on a tangent similar to this about the movie Four Christmases, which I haven't seen, so I can't say. But
I've seen Four Christmases.
does it
I
have that?
I also do not like people in films having to do things that they don't wanna do. If you want to go on vacation for Christmas, instead of going to every in-law, don't let your family pressure you into doing stuff you don't want to do. You only have so much time on this planet. You can spend it with them how you want to. And if you would rather go to freaking Hawaii for Christmas with your partner that you love, then do that. Like, yeah, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like people having to sacrifice happiness for someone else to feel better. That's weird.
I mean, it shouldn't be that way, you know? I
It
mean,
shouldn't.
yeah, sometimes in life and in movies, people grow apart. And it doesn't mean
Mhm.
anybody's a bad person. It just people grow apart. And sometimes people grow together, and sometimes it's not always easy to grow
Yeah.
together. It's an
The
effort.
the other one I hate is the Meet the Fockers thing, and he mentioned Christmas with the Cranks. It's very similar, where they just keep making the dumbest decisions that just make things worse and worse and worse, but also, like, they have the worst luck in the world, and, like, the worst thing keeps happening over and over and over again. Like, come on. Nobody is that unlucky in life or that stupid when they're
I don't
trying
remember.
that hard. Like, I don't like it. Like, I
I just
don't like
remember
those kind of
that.
films.
I just
They
remember the
irk
first
me.
one where Ben Stiller is meeting his in-laws for the first time, and Robert De Niro is a CIA or FBI agent, can't remember
Something,
which
yeah.
happens at the end. And he milks a cat, and that's all I remember. And I didn't think the milking the cat. I don't dislike. It's just not funny to me, which is
I
fine.
don't think it's
A lot of
funny
people.
either.
I don't know. I never got why that was so funny. It's supposed to be funny, but to me, it's
Yeah.
like people kept on like raving about it at the time, and sometimes I'll still see people think it's. I just don't think it's funny. It's not
It's not my type
offensive.
of
It's
humor,
just not funny. It's not much of a
but the
humor.
whole
That's
film
yeah.
itself is a big downer to me. Like, I just don't like that much, like, ridiculous negativity happening to one person, when if you just talk to someone would solve most of the problems. Just communicating like a normal human would solve a majority of the issues that are in films like that. Like, just telling your daughter that you guys were gonna go on vacation, and now that she's gonna show up, you're not gonna have the same Christmas you usually have. Oh, no. Like, it's so
Yeah.
bizarre. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know. Uh, it's not funny to me.
No,
It's just
I like Wayne's World. That's funny.
that's
Austin
funny.
Powers is funny.
Yeah.
Hottest character in Stranger Things? Question mark.
Steve
Hottest
Harrington.
character.
Dacre Montgomery is super hot, but his character sucks. His character is just a bad guy.
Which one is he?
He's the brother. God, why can't I remember his name
Whose
now?
brother? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The one who's dating Nancy at one moment, right? Jonathan.
No, the other brother, the brother to the girl that is now brain dead.
What? Oh,
The one who sacrificed himself at the very end to save her. The stepbrother. I guess they're stepbrothers.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his
The
name.
like lifeguard guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
but
his
him and
character-
Steve, his character sucks, but he is a good looking man. He was in Power Rangers also. Power Rangers.
Oh, really? Who does he play in Power
Yeah.
Rangers?
The Red Ranger.
Of course he does.
One. He's so
I can see
hot.
it. So for me, that Matthew Modine is hot in it, the way he looks, but Dr. Brenner is not hot. I don't.
Yeah, same.
I don't agree with the way he deals with things. So I guess the hottest character for me is their science teacher, who also is like the head of their AV club, who's hardly.
Oh.
He's adorable. Come on.
Oh, I don't know.
I
Steve
told
Harrington
him.
at the end there was very
He's got his little
attractive. Him and
mustache.
Eddie are super hot too.
See, I relate to Eddie. So I don't
Yeah.
so I'm not attracted to Eddie because like I don't see myself as Eddie, but you know what I mean? Like that's the character.
Well,
like I was that kid. So like
if there was an Eddie in Dungeons and Dragons that I play, then I would definitely be attracted. So I don't know.
I can't even.
Where did that question come from? It's funny.
Okay. For those that don't know, I have sometimes I'll post a link to it in my Instagram stories.
In our Instagram.
This is from one of those ask me an anonymous question apps,
Mm-hmm.
and so people asked us some questions from our last one, but we didn't answer, and just generally now. Here's another one. Do you think Art the Clown is their father? And have you seen Terrifier 2 yet, Justine?
I still haven't seen it, no. Mm,
So
I'll get to it at some point. It's not really the first one was good. I didn't mind it, but it's not really my cup of tea. So
I
it's not one that I run
admire
to,
that it's
but
an
I wanna support
independent
it.
film that did really well, and it's
Yeah.
really for horror fans and all the practical effects. It's not my favorite. I don't
Mhm.
dislike it. I did see the second one, and I do know what they're talking about. There is a whole storyline that relating to the specific family,
Mhm.
and they do allude that it could be a possibility. But the thing about Terrifier and Terrifier 2, the whole thing is that its story isn't really its main draw, and it's apparent, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, we know what we're going in for with the movie. It's to the point where not just because, and I liked the movie, I liked it, and there's a lot I appreciated about it. There were a lot of really gory scenes with practical effects I loved, and there's a lot of moments that could have turned into an essay scene, which usually does, and it never even alludes to that, and I highly
Mhm.
appreciate that. So there's a lot about it that I do like, but the story isn't important to me. So like if they told me, oh, which there is no definitive answer at this point in time. If they told me
Mhm.
Art the Clown was their father or isn't their father, it makes no difference to me. So
Good to know.
maybe, maybe not. I don't care. I mean, either way is fine with me. That's fine.
Maybe.
Maybe, maybe they're his babies. I don't know. So I think we have a few more. Oh, again, I don't know if this is the app or not, which I don't really have an answer for this. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and why?
Where I live right now. I love where I live. So, right here, right now,
I
this
really
is it.
can't. I like where I live. There's some disadvantages and advantages, but I'm not itching to be anywhere specific. I also
It's like
haven't traveled a lot of places, so I really
yeah.
couldn't picture myself living somewhere I haven't actually experienced. So there's that.
I've lived all
Uh,
over the United States quite a bit. I think Washington State is my favorite out of all the places I've lived. And where I live right now is what I've always dreamed of living, so I wouldn't exchange it for the world. I would love to visit. My dream vacation is Iceland. I wanna see where
oh,
they
I want
shot,
to go
like,
there too.
Prometheus and
I want to
stuff
see like
because it's
the
gorgeous.
black
Yeah,
sands
yeah, it looks so
beaches. That looks so
alien.
cool.
It looks
The volcanic
amazing.
rock.
So,
Yeah, I want to
yeah,
go.
yeah, it looks I just wanna go there.
It's
Japan
very
would be a great one too. I would love to
expensive to
see
live there,
Tokyo.
I know, because
Yeah.
to import things into the island, it's very expensive to live there. Same with Hawaii. But I'd love to visit there. That's for sure. Uh, okay, so I think we only have two more questions. That I might have missed
Well, that's
one,
good
and
because my
again,
eyes are getting really tired.
yeah.
I've been working on
It
a
means
computer all day
nothing
today.
if we missed something or if we didn't ask a question. Again, I have no idea. I did guess last time. I shouldn't have done that. Guess, like, said, oh, I know who asked this, because I actually do not know who asked anything. I literally don't. So anything I have said has always been an assumption, and that's fine. I'm gonna ask a horror related question last. Here's a quick one that I don't think I really have much to say on: is do you get jealous fast?
Do I get jealous fast? No.
No.
No, I'm a fucking
I mean, I'm
catch.
36 years old.
No.
I'm 36. I'm 36 years old. I mean, I've had enough. I'm divorced for almost 10 years now.
I
But
don't
also,
yeah. I just
I mean,
if you wanna
the way
spend
I
your time
see
with
it
somebody else,
is,
then do it.
well, the way I see it, if someone's gonna do something I don't like, or cheat, or if it's a friendship, if it's, I can only see myself getting jealous in a romantic relationship that I can think of.
Yeah.
Because if my friends do well, I'm happy for them. I'm not jealous at all.
Yeah.
I love that, because I
Yeah.
know, my time will come and
I
they'll be
might
happy for me.
jokingly say, "Oh my god, I'm so jealous,"
Yeah,
because I'm so
anytime I say
happy
that,
for
I
them.
never mean it. If I'm actually
No.
jealous, I'm keeping it to myself because I'm embarrassed that I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
Yeah.
But
I don't
in a romantic sense, I mean the way I see it, like if someone's going to, let's just keep it simple with cheating, or some equivalent of it. Like maybe it's not cheating, but it's something I don't want them to do. Whatever it is, they're gonna do it. Like no matter, like if they're gonna do it, there's nothing I can do to stop them. So me being jealous or thinking of theories or looking for anything is just gonna it's just not gonna help me. So I just
well,
trust, if I
yeah.
can't trust them, I can't be with them.
I'm gonna be
So
honest, that type of jealousy comes from a place of insecurity in yourself, as if
usually,
you need to do something different or better or be something else for somebody else to not do those things, but it's not about you. It's about them. They're doing those things. And if you're not the right person for them and they're doing and going outside of their relationship, or even if they made a mistake and they didn't mean to, they made a mistake. They didn't mean to. It has nothing to do with you. There's nothing you can do to prevent someone else from doing their own thing and their actions. So there's a possibility that sure, some relationships can go through rough spots and there is something you guys can do together for the relationship, but jealousy is not served there either. So it's just not, it's a useless way to use your energy, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, so I definitely don't get jealous fast at all. And I'm a human being. So obviously
I get angry. I've been angry about stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like where I feel betrayed and I feel upset at myself for falling for somebody who would do something like that or believing somebody who would lie. I do feel that, but it's never jealousy. It's like, I will fucking, how dare you? Like it's more anger and it's usually directed at the person who did the thing they shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I see some anger as well because I always say, with friends or more than friends, it's like, hey, like if you have something going on where you know I'm not gonna like what you have to say, like you want space or you want something specific from me or don't want something from something specific for me, just let me know. It's better I hear news I want to hear than you just doing what you want and not telling me. Just communication is key. So if you do, yeah, so that's it. But so here's
I have felt jealous of like people who have opportunities that I wish that I could also have, but it's not really real jealousy. It's more like, God, I wish I could do that. it's more impressed or happy for them.
there is this Kermit the Frog cardigan that's really cute, and it's not on it's from Hot Topic, which I don't really shop at Hot Topic a lot, but I saw it and it's really cute. It's like got the Kermit the Frog collar, and it's not online. You have to go to Hot Topic, and so people that have it right now, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm
green. That's a great example. That's a great example of the level of jealousy that I could have.
I was fast to immediate jealousy.
I wish I could have seen System of a Down in concert. That would have been nice.
So, like, if I'm jealous, it's like immediate jealousy. It's something like that.
Yeah. Same.
Again, I feel jealous in serious situations, but because I'm a human being, but it's not my default. And then I think this will be our last question for the night. Do you think Tobin Bell will be in Saw 10 as Jigsaw? So we know he's officially going to be in it. I assume as Jigsaw because Saw is known for just inserting him in flashbacks, and I love it and I hate it, and I'm always impressed by how many they're able to fit.
We'll do an entire episode on Saw, you guys.
We will, and also like part of me wants to have like a marathon with somebody that can stomach to watch them, and we just have a drinking game each time there's a flashback.
Get obliterated.
Obliterated. Oh my god! Like we might black out. Holy shit! Or maybe we'll do something else. But
Spooky. But yeah, Spooky Robin has asked you for movie recommendations. Emma,
have you? Okay. Only me. I think we all have good movie recommendations. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody. I recommend it all the time, but not everyone's seen it yet. Santa Sangre, always top of my list. Basket Case, anything by Frank Henenlotter is always at the top of my list. If you like slasher films, Intruder is a great one that's got supermarket themed kills. Another one, if you like slashers, is Death Spa. If you're looking for something kind of more artistic or romantic or ethereal, is anything with Gene Rollins, especially if you like twins and vampires. But Santa Sangre is usually at the top of my list, depending on who you are. I mean, yeah. So those are my recommendations at the moment.
Good ones. Good ones. I have like Cosmic Horror recommendations. So
I love Cosmic Horror. Do you have any other ones that we haven't seen yet or talked about?
I don't know. I talk about these ones a lot because they're some of my favorites, but like The Endless is one that I always recommend because not a lot of people have seen that one still, and I think that's a really cool film.
Seen it. I got it.
Little indie mumblegore.
I love it.
And then The Void, of course, is another one that I always go to recommend. Spring, if you're looking for a more romantic with a little sprinkle of cosmic horror. Yeah,
like
that
Spring
was a really great one.
If the Richard Linklater before trilogy movies had a monster in it, and I dig that.
It's so good. I love it. I love that movie. It's one of my ones that I like to watch in the springtime, like right now. Right now it's May, so any May horror is really fun. So get anything culty,
Midsommar.
get into those culty films. Wicker Man, of course, is a classic. There's The Invitation is another go-to recommendation. I think that's got some culty
Perfect
vibes.
Host is fun if you like Niles from Frasier. That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Oh, Pet is another one if you
I
like.
haven't seen that.
If you want something that has an interesting little surprise, that one caught me off. I was like, what? Okay.
And
So that one's a
Pessimisty
cool
said
one.
they're gonna say, I'm gonna seize this opportunity to mention Rocktopusy again. I haven't seen Rocktopusy, so
I've
it
never
sounds
heard
like
of
I
that.
have fun with it. It sounds like I have fun. It sounds fun. I don't know if there's an
Dagon's
octopus.
another good one. I have a
Dagon, which
lot of
we
fun
talk
watching.
about
We have talked about, yeah.
in our Terror from the Deep or whatever we called it, our
Yeah.
underwater horror one.
Yeah. That one's just a lot of fun.
The Devil's Reign's a good one. That's got William Shatner in it and Ernest Borgnine. I recommend that one. And that's where the original Michael Myers mask comes from, is those masks because they had to make masks with hollowed out eyes, and they made one for Captain Kirk, William Shatner, and that's where that comes from. That's interesting. And Pessimisty says that Rocktopusy is on Amazon. Good to know.
Good to know.
Yeah, JB did host it back in the day for Monster Vision, and I do recommend for anybody that hasn't seen it. It's a fun ride, and we don't always do it, but we do our live watch. We did last Friday, our live me, Optimisty, and Pessimisty, who's El Chubby Cabra in our Discord. We watched along with Joe Bob, who's doing his no season right now. So every Friday on Shudder, it's live. The new episode is posted live, and we talk about it in our Discord when we're all around. And so that's always fun because he's a horror host. Think of him like Elvira. If Elvira was like a cowboy, is the easiest way to
a redneck.
A redneck cowboy who tells like dad jokes, and Darcy's amazing, and she's like Elvira, kind of,
Is it just me, or does it kind of have a Home Improvement vibe that's much more progressive?
It does a little bit. It has like that progressive kind of humor a little bit.
Progressive Home Improvement, because you even got the pretty like the
Darcy. That's Darcy. Yeah. And something I like is Darcy's more and more like the male girl role, which is back in Monster Vision back in the day. Darcy, more than the other male girls, she's more like a co-host than she's like an addition, and I really like that. She really works a lot with the fans, and she's amazing as a person. I don't know her personally, but you can, if you're a fan, she just really does a lot of work with the fans, and she really cares, and she really cares a lot about horror. She used to have a horror blog about rating horror porn movies, because she's formerly a porn actress, and so she did a fun blog about that. She has a podcast.
We had a fun little trivia for that.
We did, and that's still on our YouTube.
Yeah,
live.
Check that out. It was really funny. Right now, though, I've binged a lot of TV shows, so I'm a little bit behind on films. I've been watching Yellow Jackets. I've been watching Silo, which was really good, and I binge watched the entire Mayfair Witches first season, which I really enjoyed. I really liked it. It's not for everybody. I know some people said in the Discord they didn't really like it, but if you're like me and you like shows like Vampire Diaries, the originals, more of those drama-esque style supernatural shows, you would like Mayfair Witches. It's kind of something right between that and Interview with the Vampire series, and it's the same universe. So I recommend watching it if you watched Interview with the Vampire, because I would guess at some point will commingle, and you might not know something that other people will know if they've watched both, but they are in the same universe, and they've stressed that. It's this Anne Rice universe, the Immortal universe, I think is what it was called. But I really liked it. I thought it got dark. It was crazy at points. Like, I don't know. It was really interesting. It felt like it had Love Country-esque episodes too. Did you watch Love Country?
Lovecraft Country?
Lovecraft Country? Yeah. Did I say Love
Yes,
Country?
I watched.
Lovecraft
I
Country.
wasn't it. I watched the first season. Was there another season after?
I think there's 2 seasons, but then it was canceled. Uh, there's episodes of Mayfair Witches that reminded me a lot of Lovecraft Country because you are just kind of thrust into an episode and you have no idea what's going on half the time. And then you realize at the end, like as things resolve, what's going on. And I really liked that. So yeah, I loved the Interview with the Vampire series. I think that the Interview with the Vampire series is a bit darker out the gate. But I also think that we all know the story a little bit more and are a little bit more familiar with it, that it didn't require as much exposition as Mayfair Witches does. Mayfair Witches had a lot more like character setup than we
Is
needed
it like the
for
Witches of
Interview with the
Eastwick?
Vampire.
A little bit?
No, they're darker. It's a darker story. Like there's definitely a history of a family of witches that goes back to like the witch trials. But there's like this ominous figure that we don't know if is good or bad yet. And it's still up in the air after the end of the season. So you still don't know. That feels a little Lucifer-esque, like he's the
Ooh,
devil.
like the show?
Yeah,
Or that
and
he's like Lucifer.
he's like they made a deal with this demon. Like he's
Okay.
the demon that is just part of them now and is part of their bloodline and is why they're so powerful or something. But you don't know if he's bad or not.
I hope we all remember that Eek is not a demon. He's an interdimensional being, like the Cenobites.
Yeah.
But
And I hope that they do something like that with this. I hope that is actually probably one of my favorite things that happens in horror is whenever they blend science and supernatural together. Oh, I love that. I get so excited when something that's supposed to be like demonic turns out to be interdimensional, or some creature that like they thought was a demon turns out to be like a creature from the Fey land or whatever, fairy. Like, oh, I love that. I love it when
I like it too. I love cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
Or old folklore stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Especially when it's given like a modern, like, I don't know, lens, you know, like, and it's applied to some sort of science to a degree, like the idea of aliens are possibly interdimensional beings, while in some religions they were thought to be demons, testing people's faith, like just intertwining all of that stuff into like one film to like, it's just fun. It's fun to me. I like to see that play out.
I do too, and I'm like as an agnostic person, like in life and also within storytelling, it's interesting how, you know, I just know that there's whatever it is, there's just things beyond my perception as a human being in general. And so I love when stories feed into that. Like, you thought it was this, of course you did, everyone would, but it's not.
It's not.
You know? It's not. Guess what?
That's what I'm trying to do with my short story.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited.
Oh, I love
so they buy all of their witchcraft stuff online at an overpriced website, right? Never mind. I'm thinking of Wayfair, which is that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I like that show. So I've been watching shows instead of watching TV. I did rent or buy The Pope's Exorcist the other day, but I started watching it way too late and I fell asleep. So I still have to watch it. And then I watched 65, like I said, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't bad.
I've been watching a lot of stuff off of Criterion and Mubi that we wouldn't watch for the podcast since we're taking a break. So like, you know, I've been watching stuff that I know that once we start up with our regular episodes and I start back in school in the fall, I'll have less time for.
Yeah, exactly why I've been binge watching shows, because I'm like, we don't typically cover a lot of shows because they're quite when they're being talked about is when they're on, and it's quite the turnaround time that we would have to do for those.
Yeah, the big one we did was Cabin of Curiosities, which has its own episode, and then
the Chucky series.
Chucky series. We talked about it, but we didn't go into it was part of the episode, you know.
We just talked about the Chucky franchise in preparation for the new series that was dropping, but we didn't really talk about the series. I think we talked about Chucky on the TV series episode that Crystal and I did a bit. And I think we talk about it kind of often, actually, whenever we bring up TV shows, we talk about how good Chucky is, and Yellow Jackets. Yellow Jackets.
I haven't seen Yellow Jackets yet.
It's,
But I saw
blowing my
it's kind of on the top of my list. It's very high. It's come highly recommended by you and a lot of other people as well. What was I gonna say? Oh, we also for our comedy episode, which will be after our pick 3, I believe. We because it's only 6 episodes, we talk about Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah, that one was fun. Yeah, so I have been kind of taking a bit of a horror break along with our break to like consume some other media. I mean, I'm still reading a ton of books. I think I'm on book 90 this year.
Oh wow.
So I fill in my time with those as well.
I'm almost finished with Jim Henson's biography, and I'm not usually super into, even like I'm not into biopics. You know, I think it's hard to really capture a person, but it really talks about his artistic integrity and his artistic impact, and just about a lot about the process. So it's an interesting biography. Yeah, I like it.
I do recommend Silo, like I said. We watched Evil Dead Rise. I freaking loved that.
I loved it.
That was so fun. I don't want to go too spoilery on it, but I loved it. It gave me like,
I loved it.
I don't know. I felt like a good blend of the 2013 film and the original trilogy.
It was
in a modern way
for me. Perfect.
Yeah, I really love it. One of the best title cards I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Cabin of the Woods title card, the way it just kind of springs on you a little bit. But yeah, it was so cool looking.
It's going to be available to buy streaming soon, and then I think it's June when you can buy it via disc. A lot of people have asked me, because I posted about it a lot in my Instagram, is that would I think it's scary from deep horror fans? And I would say, well, it's scary subjective, and I don't, I had to know someone really well to know if they would think it's scary. So I'm like, well, horror's subjective, but I would think I said, I think it's good. And I liked it, and it had moments that were really tense for me. But if you're a really deep horror fan, you might not find it scary in the way you think you want it to be. But I think it's a good movie, and you might find it scary. I mean, if you're used to horror,
there's some great.
It's hard to say. It's hard.
They're really effective.
Well, I like the tension because there's a lot of moments, without giving it away, where you see a character doing something, and you see something happening towards them in the background in different ways, and you're just like
and it sets you up for later too, to expect it in certain cases and not get it, but then get it a different way. And like, so they were really effective and intentional with the way that they scare you or attempt to scare you. I think that there's some scenes that I found where their use of gore was just spot on, that I adored. The light bowl or the glass scene I thought was so cool. The bathtub scene I thought was really cool. The whole hallway scene through the peephole is one of the coolest sequences I've seen in a long time. And I think the way that it had, like, you could hear the footprints and then you saw some, it was very Blair Witchy kind of, where you didn't necessarily see everything, but you got to hear a lot of it. And then that was so cool
too, which is like the original,
it's funny. The ending with the like body horror,
I did not expect
that. Made me so happy, and I did not expect it. I don't want to give that away because that was such a cool surprise. So if you haven't seen it yet,
body horror surprise, which we won't mention anything else about it. It reminded me, it's not the same thing, but it gave me Henrietta from Evil Dead 2 vibes with being its own thing at the same time. So
exactly. It was very cool. And someone mentioned the elevator, very reminiscent. I feel like they were paying homage to the genre a lot in some of those choices. It was just the Dead by Dawn moment right before that too. God, I loved it. I had so much fun watching it. I enjoyed it so much. I went on a date night for that one, so
good
I
date
really
movie.
liked it.
Depending on who you are, I guess.
We were laughing, and I'm like a few times. I had such a blast. I hadn't had that much fun in a theater for a horror movie since. Well, I had that much fun with Scream 6 actually too. I really enjoyed
With
Scream
your new
6 in
boyfriend.
theater. Yeah, and it
I
was.
mean in the movie. I don't mean your actual boyfriend. I mean the person who's Ghostface. I'm kind of poking fun at you, but I don't want to give it
You
away for
are.
those
You
that haven't seen it.
are.
I think the scene from Evil Dead, without going into Evil Dead Rise, without going into too much detail about it, that really had me like up in my seat is when there's a deadite with a sheet over them, and there's stuff that happens in the kitchen. Was like when I'm like the most like gripping my seat with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would, and anything when the little girl's
The
involved.
bugs.
Whenever the little girl is
I
involved,
love
I
the
feel like
bugs.
that always increases the like feeling of dread when you have a little girl you're rooting for. Um, so any moment that she was involved in, I was just like, no.
And
Like,
in the movie, we're not saying who lives and who dies, but it is a movie where no one is
you
safe.
don't
They're
know.
not
No one's
sure
safe.
if anybody gets out, any of them.
I
I'm
did
not
not
saying
expect
nobody,
that either.
but there is like it's one of those movies where wow, they really could just take out everybody. We don't know. So that's part of it that was like cool for me. And it's like I really don't know who's gonna make it out. I really
Dude,
don't
the
know.
ending is freaking legit too. I loved the way it ended, how it tied everything up. Oh, so good. Big fan, big fan. I enjoyed it
Big
a
fan.
lot.
High recommend from the Let Us In podcast is Evil Dead
Highly
Rise.
recommend.
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Did
I
Crystal
heard a
see
lot
it?
of
I
hate
can't
about
remember if she
it.
saw it.
I don't know why. I don't see it, but everybody has
Oh,
their
that
opinion.
reminds. There is another question I
Mhm.
forgot to ask. It's not Evil Dead related. It's well, it was what's your favorite season of American Horror Story? And I like some
Coven.
seasons. Which one? Coven. Probably
Coven.
Coven for me too. I mean, I don't dislike American Horror Story, but it's not my favorite. I don't get excited for it. I think sometimes they really go like you'll get really invested with a storyline, and then it kind of goes in places that I
Off
think
the
are
rails.
off
Yeah.
the rails. Like okay, well, whatever. We're at a point where I lose interest. Not all of
Yeah.
them. So I don't dislike
I
it. I
agree.
like a lot of the. I love Sarah Paulson. I like Evan Peters. There's a lot of really
So
cool
talented.
things in the
Kathy Bates.
shows, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of elements to it that I like. I really liked Hotel.
I really
The.
liked Hotel too. I was about to say that. I really liked Lady Gaga in Hotel
I did
as the
too.
Countess.
The Countess.
Woo-hoo,
I
she was so
loved
cool.
it.
And Evan Peters, I think that's one of
It's
his
cool that
best
as like the
roles too.
old
The like,
timey like.
yeah.
I, I like that proverb too. I actually
Yeah.
think I like because I think that's one of the less. It's not the most hated, but it's not. It's less likely to be someone's favorite. But you know
A
what?
lot of
I
people like
think
Asylum. That's a lot of people's favorite.
I liked it, but
I didn't mind Asylum. It's fine.
I think part of it was the aesthetic of the hotel and the whole
Hmm.
Frank Lloyd Wright 1920s old dilapidated hotel. Kathy Bates
And the collection, like Murder House. I
yeah,
liked
I like
that.
that too. I know I do like some of the seasons. I did like Freak Show. Wasn't my favorite. You know what? I'm gonna say Hotel was my favorite. When I think about it, of ones that I think of American Horror Story, and I haven't seen all of the seasons, so I don't know which one. I haven't seen Apocalypse or anything. But so
Oh.
the ones that I did like, I think the one I think about, I come back to, and that I would watch again, probably is Hotel. I'm gonna say Hotel's my favorite, actually.
Yeah,
Hotel's my favorite.
Coven is definitely my
It's really
favorite.
good.
Hotel is up there. Someone,
I love the
Culinary
Stevie
Geek
Nicks
Roy said,
cameo in Coven.
"Oh, I love it."
I
Yeah,
love her.
Coven, Hotel, and Roanoke is Culinary Geek Roy's top 3. I hated Roanoke.
I haven't seen Roanoke,
I
so
don't. I understand a lot of people like that one too. I did not like that concept at all. It bothered me so much, and that's probably because I don't even really like found footage, and they went with this like found
oh,
footage like
I might like
uh
it. Crystal
ghost
might like it.
hunter theme. I did not enjoy it at
Do you
all. It
remember
just didn't.
Freaky Links?
No.
It was a show that was on for like 1 or 2 seasons that was about Roanoke, and it was not
Mm.
American Horror Story. It was like earlier, and it was kind of like banking on internet horror. It's hard to describe. I can see why it was canceled, but like they made like all shows. If this was back in the day when I was like either junior high, maybe around there.
Mhm.
It's been a while. So Freaky Links, yeah, Pessimisty remembers it.
Coven, Hotel, and Murder House are probably my top 3, and or maybe Asylum. Asylum and Murder House are
I probably would say Hotel, Coven, and then Asylum for me. And I liked Murder House, but it's not my top 3.
mhm.
And those of the ones I've seen, I haven't seen Roanoke, I haven't seen Apocalypse, I haven't seen any of the American
Apocalypse could have
Horror
been
Story
so
stories.
much better.
I've
It
seen
had
some of
so
them.
much potential, and it bothers me that like some of the choices that were made. I was just like, "Ugh." But
I think that
that's
was a
one of the
little bit
ones I
much
think went a
in
little off the
Asylum.
rails in like a weird way. Like, why did you
I
choose
thought
to
the
go there with
aliens in
it?
Asylum was a bit much. I thought that was a little extra. I didn't dislike it,
I
but
do
it
like
was.
that.
I
Like,
liked it, but it was like what? But when I was watching it at that time when it first was coming out, I'm like, I don't know. But somebody
a
asked,
little
oh,
weird,
Spooky
guys.
Robin.
A little weird.
Spooky Robin asked, okay, American Horror Story spin-off Scream Queen thoughts. I've seen episodes, but I really don't
Uh,
remember.
well, I didn't
So I have
realize
no
that was an
opinion.
American Horror Story spinoff, but I did like Scream Queens. It gave me like it had like parody vibes that I like, really meta kind of slasher horror that I thought was pretty funny. I think that's the perfect setup for acting for Emma Roberts and Abigail Breslin. I think that they do best in that type of a medium show where there is some kind of satire going on because I think they're more satirical actors. So I do appreciate them in that. And I think even Jamie Lee Curtis did better in that than I think she does in other roles where she
I
almost
haven't
comes
seen
off
it enough to have an
satirical.
opinion. And Culinary Geek Roy says the only thing Roanoke was missing was Busta Rhymes running in and putting some kung fu moves on the ghost. I can't say. I don't know where that comes from, but it reminds me of a movie that we're not going to go into because it's part of our tangent
Resurrection.
session. Resurrection. I haven't seen it.
Halloween
Is
Resurrection. Halloween Resurrection.
what?
That's what
Oh
it's
right. Oh my God! I haven't seen that forever.
because
But
remember they're like filming in that? Like
that's right. That's right.
yeah.
That's the one I've seen the least. Like I've seen Halloween 6 more than that, you know.
Oh man,
Is
H2O and Resurrection are probably my most watched, and it's
I like
Resurrection by
H2.
proxy to H2O. Like I
Yeah,
feel like if I
that's
watch
true.
one, I have to watch the other.
That
Like,
makes sense. That makes sense. You guys recommend for our slasher pick because what we do now when we have our episodes is if we don't have a guest, we each pick a movie. All three of us pick a movie, and then we have our slashers pick a movie. And the slasher pick, which we won't go into detail, The Covenant, which I had seen for the first time. I was so shocked when Bill Moseley and Coolio showed up as the cops. I'm like, Coolio, really?
that just come out of
Wow.
nowhere.
I had no idea he was going to be in it, so it was a pleasant surprise. And Bill Moseley, always good to see. I didn't know he was going to be in it, and they both show up as cops, and I'm like, whoa, cool. So
Random.
random.
And then don't show
Works.
up really again at all. Like,
Yeah, it
hardly.
worked. It worked.
Yeah.
But I won't say. I don't want to say anything about the movie until we have
Coolio
our
and
episode.
Dracula 3000. Yes. Look, I like Dracula 2000 and Dracula 3000 are guilty pleasures.
I love
uh,
Jamie Lloyd. I love Jamie Lloyd.
2000 more than 3000, but yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I've
Well,
seen the
I think
Jamie Lloyd trilogy. Yeah. Me too.
so. Right now, I think that we have a lot of episodes that are long.
Mhm.
Especially our serial killer episode will probably be a two-parter at least.
Mhm.
And then our comedy, our pick 3 is long, and then
Mhm.
there's a whole section where we're reviewing reviews of it that might be an extra episode.
Mhm.
Reviews of the movies. Well, I haven't edited it yet, so I can't really say. But we have episodes for you coming. When it
Mhm.
comes to our demon possession, we don't know when that's going to be. We might have the summer off, but we are still going to be doing lives at least every other week when we can. And
Mhm.
so, everything's still coming.
Yeah.
Everything's good. we just really, I mean, when you're moving, the last thing you need is your friends being like, "Hey, you want to go?
When you coming back?
When are you gonna-" Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll hold on. Whenever Crystal can jump in on these lives, we'll make it as pressure free as possible. Um, yeah, I this was fun. I'm glad I was able to do a live today.
yeah, I'm glad
I
you were
miss
too.
you guys every single time. I'm like, I told Emma, I was like, I don't know how long I'm gonna last. I've been staring at a computer all day today, and I'm getting a headache. And it's the lights. I just can only handle them for so long.
You gotta get those blue
But here I
glasses.
am, 2.5 hours later, and I did just fine. Because it's fun every time.
We will give Crystal your love, and you can too in the Discord. She's still there.
In the
Just tag
Discord,
her.
she's still there.
It's all good.
Yeah. Make sure
And
you all tag her.
yeah, with ghost children or some or sick ET or something.
Sick ET, bitch kids. Sick ET.
I mean, that's something I don't like looking at either.
I will not encourage that because
Or
I don't
Mac
want
and
you guys
Me.
to turn around
Some
and start
Mac and Me
tagging me in
love.
Tusk shit. So
we were talking about on Mystery Science on our MST3K night, because we all did a chat afterwards after the episode, and whenever Crystal can join us for a Mystery Science theater night, we're saving Mac and Me specifically for her, because they did an episode of Mac and Me. So that's like, we have to watch that with Crystal. So I'm going to do in the voting. I am gonna.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I am going to ask if you prefer if I do a Thursday or Wednesday evening, or do a weekend again. And I because it won't always be the same time or day of the week because of my schedule, and also I want to make it available to people that maybe have a regular schedule and they and I will be picking a few episodes that I will make sure I have access to, and that weekend, which the final Sacrifice of Fortune, which is one of my absolute favorite episodes, I don't think I have access to, so I'll make sure I have access to it. You guys can vote. If you don't want to vote, I can just pick. I have no problem. I'm leaning towards Time Chasers, or probably Space Mutiny.
You're the boss of Misty Night. She's the Misty
I am the
queen.
boss, and so is Crow and Tom. This is my first celebrity crush. Is not the voice, but Tom Servo himself. He is the wind. And Justine, I think they agree with me that of the podcast. So there's three main characters. There's other characters as well. Is Tom Servo, Crow, and then the host, the person. I am the Tom Servo of the podcast, where I take things too seriously sometimes, and I get kind of snooty. But I have a good heart. I have a good heart, and look at how compact and cute he is.
Totally.
I love him. I love Tom Servo so much.
Wait, what did I get? Did I get?
I don't know. Who is Justine? Is Justine one of the? Is she one? You have to specify which host, or is more like Tom, Gypsy, or Crow?
And then Necromechanimal said From is similar to Yellow Jackets and Lost, but more horror and more better. From is also a great show that I highly recommend. I am in it. I love that show too.
I didn't see that comment. Am I getting the YouTube one?
It's on YouTube. No, I don't know. I think you might be getting all of them, and they're getting.
No, I'm getting all of them, and they might be getting buried because someone.
Yeah, they're getting buried.
Watching on. I'm not to check it, but it says that you're watching from YouTube. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, you are, and I have them pulled up separately in separate windows.
I have
and then
StreamYard. I was gonna say the
Robin
duck
also
chat because
said,
its logo's a duck.
He said, where is it? Piranha 3DD. Yes, I have seen Piranha 3DD. It's not as good as 3D, but
I haven't seen it, but I know that somebody gets killed with a trident.
It's not, I don't care for that one, but I love Piranha 3D. But yes, I have seen 3DD.
A Mike, who is one of the hosts. He's the host of maybe the next one we do, and the one and Crow. Crow's more wisecracking.
I'm a combo. I am bipolar.
I am bipolar.
I'm just kidding. You're like, I am bipolar. I am I am both. I take it. Thank you. I'll have to get on there one of these times. I said I missed it. I wanted to watch this one specifically because it was a werewolf one.
It's a good one. You'll love Space Mutiny. You'll love
She's
Space
a
Mutiny.
werewolf.
It was really nice of you to give that dead woman a second chance, sir. I'm excited for Captain Santa Claus. Excited. But yeah, I still have to figure out what a modern man-made werewolf is, and I'm on the case.
Modern man-made werewolf.
That is literally the dialogue in the film, which makes it so funny. And they say it.
And they dug it up?
They dug it up. So yeah, they dug it up.
So they dug it up like an archaeological dig, but it's modern.
Just a skeleton with like a wolf head, basically.
And man-made.
And they said it's modern man-made. And so they somehow got a serum to inject other people to make them werewolves, but that's pretty much it. And there's a lot of talking.
It's like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, kind of.
With werewolves.
But it's far less sciencey, and the skeleton's laying on the same slab. In what looks
There's
like
no mosquito sap and blood.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No well-preserved mosquito blood.
No.
Super.
Did you sign Sherry's birthday card? I hope you can make it for Space Mutiny whenever we do it. Maybe I'll schedule it on your schedule, Justine, because I know a lot of folks the weekend evenings is easy for them. A lot of people said Thursday evenings, so we can try and figure something out.
Yeah.
But and Time Chasers is great too. Oh my god, Future Wars.
It was a bad weekend because it was my daughter's birthday. That's all.
Yep. No, I mean just fine.
Because usually I would have been free, and I think when I told you I was going to be free, I thought in my mind I was going to be free, and then I remembered my daughter's birthdays.
I do that all the time. I do it all the time.
Because it's the weekend I don't have her.
I told my sibling I would take them to a concert in Boston on Tor's birthday, and I neither forgot either day. I never forget someone's birthday, or my brain just doesn't work sometimes. So
yeah, or sometimes I don't check the calendar specifically when I agree to stuff, and then I do, and I'm like, oh, that was dumb. Anywho.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for the questions.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, that was fun. Don't forget to you guys can always post questions in Discord. The patrons have access to the AMA. Your guys' questions will get prioritized. So if you post them in there, we'll read them on here.
Even if it's a simple question like, do you prefer spring or winter? That question will be prioritized if it's in the slasher chart.
And I will repost Emma's AMA link on the Let Us In podcast Instagram too. So like I did today. So if you guys want to go ask questions anonymously, you can do that through her Instagram.
And it really is anonymous. It will tell 100%. Me that you're in a different city, or it'll tell me this person hasn't sent a tell. They call them tells, the questions.
Thank you, Spooky Robin.
So, I literally
we appreciate you guys for showing up. You guys are like the best.
You guys are
our lettuce heads.
We appreciate it. You're our community.
Our heads are lettuce.
Right,
so until next time.
Until next time, guys. Take care.
I still have to find the button.